Hokage, I can only use Xianju. Chapter 21-40. Chapter 21 _ Back to Shibone Forest. At dawn, the east wind is about to dawn, and the morning sun is slightly dew. The cold air at night condenses into dew, which remains on the leaves, and Feng Yao walks on the mountain where the slug fairy is. It was no different here than when he came. A grassy area arched slightly, then turned into a slug. Feng Yao, did you come back to see me? The slug immortal was obviously very happy to see Feng Yao. Recently, Mr. Tsunade rarely looked for him, so the only one who accompanied him was the medical book Feng Yao left to him. Of course, Lord Slug, I have a present for you when I come back this time. Seeing the slug fairy, Feng Yao also showed a sincere smile. Sometimes psychic beasts are more reliable and kinder than people. Feng Yao took out a ring with a Chinese character engraved on it, and handed it over. What's this? Hey, the breath on your body is so comfortable. Taking the ring from Feng Yao's hand, the slug fairy climbed onto Feng Yao's body. This pure aura is also extremely beneficial to the cultivation of a spirit beast like it. This is the proof of our organization, Immortal. Lord Slug, I have one more thing this time, that is, I want to sign a psychic contract with you. Gently patted the little slug's head, Feng Yao talked about the serious business this time. Hey, Feng Yao, can you sign a psychic contract now? That's great. You can come directly to Shigulan Forest when you have something to do in the future. I'm so lonely by myself. Hearing the slug here, he did not delay, and directly summoned an oversized scroll. Slowly opening it, there are many people who have signed a psychic contract with Shibone Forest for thousands of years. And the last one was Chinsho Tsunade. Feng Yao also signed his name, bit his finger and covered his handprint. He felt that he had established a slight connection with Shigulan Forest. Thank you, Lord Slug. I would like to ask if there are any other psychic beasts around here. The slug fairy must know more about the world than he does, so it's only appropriate to ask it. And in the land of wind thousands of miles away, Orochimaru with a pocket and Junmalu are standing in the desert waiting at the moment. A man in a white robe and a blue Naruto hat walked in the distance. This man was the fourth-generation Kazakh Luasha and also Gaara's father. Hehe, Shadai Fengying, you are a little slow here. Orochimaru smiled gloomily, and his golden pupils stared at Luo Sha, who was opposite, and there were two ninjas with hidden sand beside him. Orochimaru, don't be too presumptuous, you are just a wanted criminal of Konoha, and Lord Kazeying is taking a risk when he comes out to see you. A shadowy ninja next to him spoke first. Luo Sha raised his hand to stop him from speaking, and calmly explained to Orochimaru. Recently, Konoha's surveillance on my Sandian village has been extremely strict, and it has taken some time. Let's talk about it. Obviously, Luo Sha didn't want to spend too much time with Orochimaru, and just wanted to confirm the time to attack Konoha as soon as possible. Lord Kazekage is really in a hurry. I can help your country attack Konoha village, on the condition that I want all the forbidden ninjutsu in Konoha Ninja village, and after that Konoha village and Sandian village can't stop me from carrying out my research. Quote. Orochimaru also put forward his own conditions, which of course were directly rejected by Luo Sha. Orochimaru is already strong enough, and if he gets Konoha's forbidden technique, it will be even more difficult to deal with. Luo Sha cannot create another enemy in order to solve one enemy. As for Orochimaru's research, he also heard a little bit about it, not to mention Konoha or his sand shinobi can't allow it. These two conditions of yours are too harsh. I can't promise you. What I can promise you is that Konoha will be released from your arrest. That's all. Hearing Luo Sha's words, Orochimaru's face also darkened, and he was released from the wanted list. If you can get rid of it, you will be wanted. This kind of words is almost like deceiving a child. Junmalu and Do on the side look at Orochimaru and seem to have the intention of being ready to act at any time, but Luo Sha has no idea. At this moment, Orochimaru suddenly smiled, soothing the tense atmosphere just now, and at the same time hinting Junmalu not to shoot. Well, why don't I change the condition? I will help you attack Konoha. How about you Sand Shinobu helping me deal with one person? Luo Sha was stunned for a moment. He did not expect that Orochimaru would compromise so easily, but the person Orochimaru wants to solve is probably not easy. Who? You should have heard that he is the Konoha rebel who attacked Konoha, destroyed Hokage Rock, and defeated the third Hokage a few days ago, Feng Yao tilde. Orochimaru's face was a little crazy when he said Feng Yao's name. In fact, he has been secretly close to Feng Yao these days, and the closer he gets, the more he wants to get that body. Not only can it affect the spirit of others. Orochimaru even felt that after being with Feng Yao for a long time, his understanding of ninjutsu has been greatly improved. If he could directly possess that body, he might be able to learn all the ninjutsu in the world in the least amount of time. Thinking of this, Orochimaru licked his lips greedily. It's him. Who can defeat even the third Hokage? You let me, Sand Shinobu, help you solve it. My subordinates and I will also help, and he is now my ally and asks for me, so we have a great chance, but I want to live. Luo Sha pondered for a moment, and seemed to weigh left and right, and finally agreed to Orochimaru's request. Orochimaru stretched out his hand and smiled strangely. Happy cooperation, Mr. Cage. Camera turns to Konoha. The sun was shining in the Hokage Hall, and a group of Anbu members were kneeling on the ground. Lord Naruto, these days, Sandian Village has been mobilizing ninjas from all over the country to return to China, and it seems that the 4 generations of Cage have been quietly seeing someone recently, and who is not clear. It's most likely an action against my Konoha. Listening to the report of his subordinates in front of him, Danzo was expressionless. But Sand Shinobi's behavior has already aroused his suspicions. For Danzo, he will be eradicated only by suspecting him, and he would rather kill 10,000 by mistake than let one go. Thinking of this, Danzo raised his head and commanded the person in front of him. During this period of time, I have brought back some of the Junin that went out, and the task of chasing Feng Yao will stop for a while. In a few days, the allied countries will jointly hold the Junin exam. I will take the opportunity to launch a movement like Sandian Village during the exam. War, inform all the Junin of this news and order them to gather. After Danzo finished speaking, he took out the orders and plans that had been written and handed them over to his subordinates. There are still a lot of people who are dissatisfied with themselves in the Jonin, but as soon as the war starts, they will realize that they are the ones who can lead Konoha to glory. Danzo wants to imitate the first generation of Hokage and unify the ninja world. Kakashi was dissatisfied with Danzo's behavior, so after waking up, he did not tell Danzo about Feng Yao's true appearance, but reported it to the third Hokage. The 3 generations of Hokage also frowned when they found out. Even he couldn't figure out who this Feng Yao was, a spy from another country. The mysterious ninja of the Land of Waves. Konoha's intern. Therefore, only a few people know Feng Yao's true appearance now, which also adds a layer of protection to Feng Yao. On this day, many Jonin also received information from Anbu, Hokage's secret order. Actually, is there going to be a war? 3 generations of Hokage-sama finally established the peace. Danzo, you bastard. Sandemu slapped the paper on the table angrily listening to Kakashi's report. He didn't expect Danzo to want to attack the surrounding allies so quickly. Kakashi, I need you to find someone. He turned his gaze to Kakashi and said solemnly. Chapter 22-Chunin Exam. Call. A gust of mountain wind blew, dozens of people in Yinyan village were forming a circle, and in the middle was Orochimaru telling his plan. Suddenly there seemed to be a sound from the trees next to it, and everyone was alert and cast their eyes. It was Feng Yao who came back from Shizuku Forest. Feng Yao looked around slowly, and the sharp gaze made everyone around him dare not continue to look at each other. Yaojun, you're finally back, I thought you didn't plan to take revenge. Orochimaru was relieved to see that it was Feng Yao. After he came back, he heard the news of Feng Yao's departure and sent someone out to look for it. In the end, nothing was gained. If Feng Yao ran away, he would be missing a perfect container. HMPH, how come the plan has already started? Feng Yao glanced at Orochimaru and went straight to the topic. It is now approaching July, and the Chunin exam is coming soon. According to the plot, Orochimaru will first send 3 voice ninjas to participate in Konoha's Chunin assessment, and at the same time, he will fake the 4th generation of Kazekage, and then launch Konoha's destruction plan during the assessment. Of course, in a few days, there will be the Chunin assessment held by Konoha. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to enter Konoha head-on. I will also send my subordinates to sneak in together. When the time comes, I will cooperate with the Sand Ninja to destroy Konoha. Yaojun will surely get his wish. Quote. Orochimaru showed a faint smile to Feng Yao. Strange, how did Orochimaru pretend to be Feng Ying at that time? Junmalu is here, and his pocket should be in Konoha. It stands to reason that Orochimaru should be in Sand Ninja Village at the moment. Could it be that the 4th Kazekage didn't die at the hands of Orochimaru because of my appearance? Of course, there will be no Konoha Ninja Village from now on. Feng Yao responded coldly. Although his voice was not loud, everyone in the audience could feel his cold-killing intent. Everyone looks different, some of them don't know Feng Yao yet, and Duoyu also puts his hands together and looks like a little fangirl. Oh, by the way, let me introduce you to the ninjas who are in charge of going to Konoha this time in Otoyan Village. Orochimaru smiled and pointed out a few people who were going this time. The first is all the sound and forbearance of the 5 people. Junmalu is not terminally ill at this time, and it also proves that he did not conflict with Orochimaru when he met the 4th generation of Kazekage. In addition, there are Sark, Toth, and Jin who participated in the assessment. Congratulations to the host for triggering the task, win the top spot, task requirements, get the first place in the Chunin assessment held by Konoha. Reward, a random lottery draw. Slogan, young people, other people are already Chunin at this time, but you are not even a Chunin, go prove yourself. Feng Yao said angrily upon hearing this. Damn it, you don't know what's going on in this Chunin exam. There are crises, and there will be a fight at any time. What hammer's Chunin exam do you want me to take? But the system has ignored him and silently gave the system a middle finger. He now has 3 tasks piled up. Can only bite the bullet and speak. I think I also need a reasonable identity. Let one position out of the 3 for me. Feng Yao's voice was low, but there was no doubt in his tone that he spoke to the 3 of Yinren. Sark, Tuz, and Jin all looked at each other. Feng Yao had been reclusive, they didn't know who Feng Yao was. Why should I give you the position? How old are you? This is the order of Lord Orochimaru. Tuz stood up and directly refuted Feng Yao. Well Tilda, you're quite suitable. It happens to be wrapped in bandages. I don't have to worry about disguising it. Swish. After speaking, Tuz stood behind him before he could react, pressing his back on the back of his head and hitting the ground directly. A crisp sound formed by the forehead guard and the ground. The gravel splashed around with blood, and Orochimaru frowned when he saw it. Although he didn't care much about the life of this subordinate, but the other party actually made a move directly in front of his eyes, but now is not the time to turn his face. Hee, Yaojun, spare him, he didn't mean to be rude to you, I agree to your request. Hearing what Orochimaru said, Feng Yao also let go of the back of Tosa's head, and he was directly knocked out by the violent blow. The people around should have been angry when they saw this scene, but under the guidance of Feng Yao's physique halo, they didn't make a sound, and of course they might have been frightened by Feng Yao. It was late at night, the sky was gloomy, the dark clouds were low, and it was like a mountain of rain. War is about to start. Next day, Feng Yao, Sark, and Jin were walking on the mountain road. At this moment, Feng Yao's face was covered with bandages, with Yin Nin's forehead guard on his head, revealing a faint blue eye. Wind, Sir Toss, are you hungry? I have something to eat here. Jin stepped forward and asked Feng Yao kindly. Because he pretended to be his identity, Feng Yao asked them to call him twos directly. Jin was also captured by Feng Yao's aura, and he continued to be courteous along the way. I said the system, this passive energy is turned off. It's too annoying. It's just a person who wants to stick it on me. If I don't have protection at night, won't it? The host shouldn't be able to close it now because of you. This is a treatment that no one wants to ask for. The system's voice was not so cold, but rather sarcastically. Even I don't want to accept everyone's. Feng Yao sighed inwardly. After rejecting the other party, he accelerated his pace, and soon a large village appeared in front of his eyes. Feng Yao stared for a while. With recollection and self-blame in his eyes, he suddenly closed his eyes and knelt on the ground. Kneeling is the direction of his own home. Sak and Jin would not understand what Feng Yao was kneeling for. When Feng Yao comes back this time, 2 people will be killed, and 1 village will be destroyed. I hope that my father and mother can rest in peace under the Juquan, and the child will give you an explanation for the old man. After saying this in my heart, I walked directly to Konoha village with Sak and Jin, who were a little puzzled. At the gate of the village, only 1 Joinin and several Chunin are in charge of guarding and checking the passes for entering and leaving Konoha. Most of the others are responsible for vigilance in various places in the village to ensure the safety of this assessment. Feng Yao stepped forward, took out his pass, and handed it over to the guard to check. A quarrel from the front was heard shortly after advancing. Little devil, it hurts. Damn fat man, let him go. This is Naruto's voice. Feng Yao recognized it as soon as he heard it. It seems that he happened to meet Gaara team. So he jumped up to a tree and observed the situation in front of him. Don't embarrass me here. A calm and indifferent voice came from the tree next to him. It was a boy with fair skin and heavy dark circles on his eyes. The most distinctive feature should be the word love engraved on the left forehead, which is Gaara. Lord Toth, that seems to be the ninja from Sandian village. Jin whispered to the side, but Sasuke heard it, and another stone hit him directly. Who is still hiding there? Feng Yao, who was easily caught by one hand, could only appear on the ground. As this forehead, the ninja of the Sound Ninja village. Tamari on the side looked at the forehead with a thoughtful look. And Naruto narrowed his eyes slightly after seeing Feng Yao, as if thinking about something. Then suddenly he shouted, "Aren't you the kid who we rescued in the country of waves that day and never cut him again? How come you have grown so much? Why did you come to our village?" Sasuke and Sakura on the side both widened their eyes and looked at Feng Yao again. Although there is a certain gap in height and body shape, these blue eyes will never admit mistakes. The opponent was indeed a ninja that even Kakashi-sensei could defeat. Feng Yao was suddenly embarrassed. Could it be that his plan to attack Konoha was about to end before it even started? However, he was only surprised when he saw the other party. He didn't seem to know that he was Feng Yao. Didn't Kakashi inform Danzo about his appearance? Cough, you must have recognized the wrong person, we just met. Feng Yao continued to quibble, but he wouldn't admit it directly. I don't know how many eyeliners there are in this village. However, Sasuke obviously did not intend to listen to his explanation. Since that time, Sasuke has been eager to become stronger. Especially when he saw Feng Yao, who was about the same age as him, in the Kingdom of Wave, he strengthened his determination to become stronger, and he rushed over to face Feng Yao directly. You can find out if you test it. But how could Sasuke be Feng Yao's opponent now? Grab Sasuke's bare feet directly, pull him forward, force Sasuke's body to rotate, and then grab the back of Sasuke's neck. Don't be impulsive, we are just here to participate in the assessment. After being restrained by Feng Yao, Sasuke was obviously quiet. The pure aura on Feng Yao's body diluted the darkness and hatred in his heart a lot. He didn't even struggle for a while. He felt that the words of the man behind him could calm him, and he somehow wanted to do what he said. Don't hurt Sasuke. Seeing that Sasuke was caught by the other party, Sakura shouted anxiously. Naruto's eyes also became sharp, and Kuusho, who put his palms on his waist, looked ready to start at any time. Chapter 23-Gara. The Gara team on the side saw that Sasuke was caught so easily. Everyone's faces were full of surprise, and Sasuke ranked at least the top 3 among the newcomers in Konoha. He was caught by the opponent in just one face-to-face. Gara stared at Feng Yao and spoke slowly. "I'm very interested in you. What's your name?" "I'm Gara from Sandstorm." Looking at Gara's eyes on him, Feng Yao was thoughtful. He couldn't completely trust Orochimaru. And this time, the 4th generation of Wind Shadow is still alive. Maybe he still needs some allies, he responded in a soft tone. "My name is Tuz. I'm a ninja from Yinyan village. I'm also very interested in you." Saying so, he let go of Sasuke. Sasuke was still a little uncomfortable at the moment. When he was around Feng Yao, he felt the happiness and warmth that he had when he was a child. He should not be the person we met in the land of waves. The aura on his body is very different from that person at that time. After speaking, he slowly walked back to Naruto's side. Temari looked at Sasuke blushing. "This guy is quite handsome." "Okay, now that the misunderstanding is cleared up, then we have something to do and we should leave." Sark and Kim go. Seeing Sasuke helping himself out, Feng Yao couldn't ask for anything, so he made an excuse. As he spoke, he took Sak and Jin to the place where Konoha was assessed, but in the middle of it he deliberately left them behind. "I have something to deal with. You should wait for me at the assessment place first." Sak and Jin were stunned for a moment, but they didn't dare to disobey Feng Yao's order. "Yes, Lord Toss." Feng Yao turned around and ran behind him. The Gara trio are walking down the streets of Konoha at the moment, talking about what just happened. "The ninja with the bandages seems to be very simple. I didn't expect that there is such a powerful guy in the Sound Ninja. I really want to fight with him." "Whatever you want, there are opportunities during the Chunin assessment, but don't forget what we are here for." It was Kankuro and Temari who were talking to each other. They also vaguely knew the inside story of some plans, and knew that Inabane was barely his own from a certain point of view. At this time, Gara stopped suddenly and cast his eyes on the big tree not far away. "What's wrong, Gara?" Temari asked suspiciously. But Gara did not respond to her, but said to the big tree. "Don't hide, come out, I have found you, can't you help but fight with me now?" Feng Yao, who heard this, also came down from the tree. Gara's mood was still very unstable during this period, and his heart was full of loneliness and hatred. "I love Luo, I want to talk to you." After saying a month step, he came to Gara in the blink of an eye, and Gara manipulated the sand to fight back, but... "It's so warm, this is... What does it feel like?" Gara's hand was put down. Gara has been extremely empty and lonely since he was a child, but now his heart feels extremely peaceful. After all, strictly speaking, Gara was still a child, and what he endured was too painful for him. His heart was always scarred until he met Naruto and was persuaded by Mouth Dun. But now that he has a mind and body of carefree mind, this is a more powerful existence than Naruto Mouth Dun. Feng Yao put his hand on Gara's body lightly, and then activated the Flying Thunder God technique. Whoosh! Only then did Temari and Kankuro who were next to him reacted. "Hey," he took Gara away, "you just looked at it like that. I don't know what's going on. I just thought that guy was a good guy, and he didn't take precautions at all. It's the same with you." Gara was taken away by him so obediently. "Hurry up and report to team leader Maggie." The two complained about each other and left quickly. At this moment, Gara was taken by Feng Yao to an open space several kilometers away from Konoha. Gara wasn't panicking either. On the one hand, he wasn't afraid. On the other hand, he felt that the man in front of him had no ill will towards him. "What do you want to do?" Gara asked. Feng Yao didn't speak, but first untied the bandage on his face to reveal his beautiful face. Gara's eyes widened when he saw it, and he seemed to understand why he was wearing a bandage. "Actually, my name is Feng Yao, and I used a fake name before. For Gaara, Feng Yao did not hide it, but showed his face and told his real name. Because he knows that only with sincerity can he impress Gaara and draw him into his own camp. Hearing Feng Yao being so honest with himself, Gaara's eyes softened a lot again. I heard about you, but I didn't expect you to hide your identity and sneak into Konoha. What did you want to do by telling me your identity and bringing me here? If it were to be treated like this by ordinary people, Gaara would have already tore the other party into dozens of pieces. But in the face of Feng Yao, it was difficult for him to mention killing intent, and he even wanted to hear what Feng Yao was going to do. I want to get your help. My entry into Konoha this time is bound to be in danger. Many people want to kill me, so I need to find a friend I can trust. Feng Yao's tone was sincere. Although Gaara's pupils contracted a little when he heard it, he still frowned. I can't promise you. I'm a ninja affiliated to Sandian village. Without the village's orders, I can't help anyone casually. Hearing Gaara say this, Feng Yao was not discouraged, but had a play in his heart. I know, I don't want to force you. If you don't want to help me at that time, you can do what you want and I will never stop it. Saying that, he put his hand lightly on Gaara's head, and he wanted to give Gaara a gift. Gaara habitually wanted to dodge, but she still didn't dodge Feng Yao's soft gaze. Pure spiritual power entered Gaara's body and found the sealing technique that sealed Shuhei, frowning at the sight of Feng Yao. A very rough sealing technique. In this regard, Xian village is far inferior to Konoha. It is estimated that the fourth generation of Feng Ying can suppress the tail by relying on his own gold dust, so he did not intend to improve the seal reasonably, so Gaara had to rely on his own mental power to suppress Shuhei. It also led to Gaara's insomnia. Feng Yao injected part of his spiritual power and chakra into the sealing technique. His spiritual power can be said to be the purest existence in the Naruto world, and it is as attractive as a tailed beast. What kind of spiritual power is this, so pure? Shuhei, who exists in Gaara's body, hates human beings very much, but this spiritual power makes him feel warm, and Shuhei is not so restless. In this way, Gaara doesn't have to be afraid that Shukaku will come out at any time to seize his consciousness because he is sleeping. When he released his palm, there were already tears on Gaara's face. He was not only lonely and painful since childhood, but also extremely insecure. Shuhei wanted to fight for his own consciousness, and his father wanted to kill him. But now, there seems to be a person like Yashawan, the Yashimaru that he once trusted and loved. Remember Gaara, you are not alone. No matter what choices you make in the future, I will treat you as my best friend. After speaking, he touched Ai Luo's hair again, and her eyes became softer. Gaara wipes away her tears. Feng, Mr. Yao, may I call you that? Gaara, who originally wanted to call Feng Yao's name directly, suddenly felt that it was disrespectful to the person in front of him, so he added the word Mr. Certainly, it's just a title. Mr. Feng Yao, although I can't promise you to do anything for you, if you are in danger, I will stand with you. Hearing that Feng Yao embraced Gaara in his arms, Gaara's body froze for a moment, then his eyes relaxed, and he stretched out his hand to hug Feng Yao. That's enough, Gaara, I have a present for you. Then he took Gaara's hand and put a ring engraved with the word, Moon, on Gaara's hand. Gaara was stunned for a moment. Feng Yao coughed lightly. We are friends now, so naturally we will give you a gift. This symbolizes our bond. Gaara lowered her head and stroked the ring Feng Yao gave him. Host, you are getting more and more shameless, and you have gained such a large combat power in vain. Cough, how to talk. I'm also thinking of Gaara. He may be targeted by Shao in the future, and then I will cover him. After talking to the system, Feng Yao put on his disguise again, and used the technique of Flying Thunder God to bring Gaara back to Konoha. Chapter 24-First Exam. After returning to Konoha village, Gaara and Feng Yao say goodbye to each other. Wind, why hasn't Master Two's come back? Jin waited anxiously on the spot, while Sark on the side was impatient. You have asked more than 30 times since the beginning, how would I know? Is it annoying? Sark replied angrily, he was almost driven mad by Jin. At this moment, a gentle voice came, and Feng Yao appeared directly behind them. What are you arguing about? I'm back here. Sak breathed a sigh of relief, while Kim's face was full of admiration. Take them into the classroom for this assessment. At this time, there are already many ninjas standing here one after another. They are all ninjas from various countries around Konoha. This is also the epitome of war between countries. It is equivalent to a stage for countries to show their strength. According to my own memory, the people who came to participate in the Chunin exam this time are 30 people in Cheyenne Village, 21 people in Yuyan Village, 6 people in Kaoyan Village, 6 people in Takiyan Village, 87 people in Konoha Village, and 3 people in Yinyan Village. From this data, we can see the military gap between countries. The power of the country is the power of the shinobi village. And whether the power of the ninja village is strong depends on the ninja. After entering, I saw a lot of familiar people. Shikamaru, Ya, and Dingji were also his classmates, and they attended the ninja school together. And at this time, Feng Yao also noticed a person, the other best conspirator in the entire Naruto world. At this time, he was holding some ninja cards and talking to Naruto and others about the major villages and ninjas participating in this assessment. As for Yinyan Village, it is just a small country that has just been established, so there is not much information, and other countries are full of experts. This voice not only reached Feng Yao's ears, but naturally also reached the ears of Sak and Jin, and their faces would naturally not look good. Do is really an excellent spy. He completely abandoned his position as the second in command of the Sound Hidden Village to speak. To be honest, he also wants to bring Do into his subordinates, but Feng Yao understands that Do is not a child. He collects intelligence from various countries, and is deeply brainwashed by Orochimaru. He will not be persuaded by his own body like Gaara. My name is Uzumaki Naruto, I will never lose to you. Everyone on the field was eerily quiet for a few seconds, and each of them looked at Naruto with a bit of a bad look. I really want to teach him a lesson. What do you think, Lord Toss, do we need to? Feng Yaoqiang resisted the urge to laugh. What do I think? I really want to see how you guys hammer your second in command. I don't want to stop you, don't go too far. As soon as he finished speaking, Sark rushed up first. His hands had special devices that could use chakra to control the air pressure attack. Jumping into the air and rushing towards the pocket as a slashing wave, and with a kick with both feet, pocket is hurriedly avoided. Jin took the opportunity to throw the silver needle behind the pocket and pulled the thread with both hands. A rapid banging sound of bells rang out. This kind of sound can make the people who heard it uneasy, and Duo also looked awake, and was punched out by Sak. Damn, good acting, it's just like the real thing, no wonder Duo's hidden work has never been discovered. Feng Yao couldn't help but applaud for Do in secret. And Naruto and the others hurriedly went to check, just about to go forward and have a theory with Sark. Suddenly, a huge plume of white smoke exploded in the classroom. You bastards, give me some peace. The smoke dissipated, and it was the many Chunin who were in charge of the assessment this time, as well as the chief examiner Ibiki Mori. I'm getting impatient waiting. I'm the examiner for the first round of the Chunin selection test. You guys should be more restrained, or else you will be disqualified from the test. Hearing this sentence, Feng Yao stood up. I'm sorry, my companion is rude, are you all right, my friend? Then he lifted the pocket. Mr. Feng Yao. Gaara also saw Feng Yao and said silently in his heart. On the other hand, Do gave Feng Yao a meaningful look, and said that he didn't care. Ibiki Mori looked around, and then said the rules of this exam. Next, you will get a piece of information, everyone will have a copy. What you have to do is to protect your information from being peeked by others, and steal the information from others, for an hour. Near here the construction is carried out within 1 kilometer, and if the distance is exceeded, it will be eliminated. Quote. After the time is up, the team that protects its own intelligence and gets any team intelligence will advance. As long as one of the two fails to reach it, it will be eliminated directly. Feng Yao frowned when he heard it. Even the rules of the Chunin assessment have been changed. Is it because of your own presence? After everyone distributed it to the scrolls, Ibiki Mori gave an order. Then the exam begins. Author's digression, seeing that the readers want me to explode and celebrate. That's what everyone wants. There's no way to be so fond of it. Ahem, but the author's time is limited in reality, so I'll explode for a day. If the little cuties have a silver ticket, they can also vote for encouragement. Chapter 25-Easy Promotion. Sene Ibixi's voice just fell. Feng Yao directly attacked a Konoha ninja in front. Grab the opponent. The so-called obtaining information does not say that you have to steal it. You can also grab it directly, and after the exam starts, everyone except your own team is an enemy. The assessment this time was even crueler than the previous one. It could be said that Konoha's ninjas had a higher chance of advancing than other countries' ninjas. Because there are many people in Konoha, it is impossible for one's own people to rob their own people, which will cause people from other countries to be eliminated significantly. HMPH, it really is Danzo's style. Feng Yao thought so in his heart, but he didn't intend to stop. The Konoha ninja hid in a hurry, but Feng Yao's duck flew away. He slapped the table with one hand, rose up into the air, and kicked the Konoha ninja out of the sky. Konoha ninja only felt that he was hit by a hammer of several hundred pounds. Then he slammed to the ground, and his eyes flashed gold stars. When he regained his senses a little, he saw Feng Yao's eye standing in front of him. Another heavy punch. The Konoha ninja really fainted this time. Feng Yao took out the information from the opponent's arms in a hurry, and then stuffed it into his arms. I didn't want to find a place to hide, so I sat back to my seat again. His two companions didn't even react, and they could only be eliminated after losing information. Sak and Jin have long known about Feng Yao's strength, and they are not surprised to see it. It's just that when the audience's eyes are focused, they can't help but feel a sense of pride. The people around also reacted immediately, or competed with each other, scattered, jumped out of the window to find opportunities to steal information. But for a while, no one dared to shoot at Feng Yao, and they were all stunned by Feng Yao's decisive and sharp action just now. Gaara on the side directly trapped the three Konoha ninjas who wanted to leave with sand, and got the information easily. Then, just like Feng Yao, he sat back in his seat. Sene frowned when he saw it. This year's kid is a little strong. It stands to reason that even if you grab the information, you can't sit here so openly. As time went by, more and more people grabbed the information of other teams, and the number of people kept decreasing. About half an hour later, several ninjas from the Land of Rain also came to the teacher. HMPH, there's no way, I really can't find the hiding place of those guys. Hello, Yinren over there, hand over the information in your hands. One of the leaders with a scar on his face said viciously to Feng Yao. He also thought about it. The kid who used sand might not be able to beat it, and this sound forbearance just didn't have any outstanding performance, just the first shot, maybe just a paper tiger. Jin stepped forward directly. Shut your mouth, I'll be your opponent. Just when this team of Yuyan was about to come forward and grab it hard, Gaara on the side made the first move. The sand in the pot trapped the three of them and lifted them up. With a cold voice, he warned, if you dare to take a step closer to Mr. Toss, I will kill you directly. A terrifying murderous aura shrouded the three of them directly. Now I finally got a little peace of mind in my heart, and I got people who valued him. All of this came from Feng Yao, and now a few ignorant Yuren dared to attack the people he valued. Just when the three rainy ninjas were about to be overwhelmed and out of breath. Okay, you are not allowed to kill in the first test, otherwise I will disqualify you. Gaara snorted and stopped, taking the sand back. Morina Ibiki's speech saved the three rain shinobi, and after the three fell, the whole person was in the joy of the rest of his life. Tamari and Kankuro couldn't believe their eyes. Gaara would actually help out for others, and he seemed to respect the guy in the bandage very much. They even doubted everything they saw. Is this still the Gaara? At this time, the situation outside was also quite dire. Damn Konoha, several teams are besieging them together. Shameless, we also unite. Now all the ninjas in other countries have been eliminated by Konoha. 1 hour has passed in this kind of protest, and all the people have returned to the classroom one after another, and there are obviously a lot fewer people than just now. The Konoha protagonist group has all successfully advanced, and the difference from the memory is that this time there are only 20 teams left. And among them Konoha accounts for the majority. The number of ninjas in other small countries has suffered a lot. The faces of these people were somewhat angry. Almost all of them were ambushed by Konoha's ninjas, and some were even besieged and robbed by several teams. This was an unfair promotion at all. Seeing the expressions of everyone, Ibikimori sighed secretly, but it was Hokage's order that he couldn't disobey. At this moment, a figure broke through the window, 2 kunai were inserted into the corners of the classroom, and huge black banners were unfolded. I'm the chief examiner of the second exam, Miter washes red beans. Don't get too excited, the next exam is waiting for you. Come with me. The field was quiet, and Hongdu's face was a little bit unbearable now, and her cheeks were slightly red. It was not until the leadership of several Chunin teachers that they left the teachers one after another, and they came to a forest surrounded by huge iron nets. Hongdu walked to the door of the iron net and listened, and his eyes became a little terrifying. This is Konoha's 44th exercise ground, also known as the Forest of Death. Looking at the huge forest in front of him, Feng Yao was thoughtful. This time, because of Danzo's rise to the top, even this assessment has undergone such a big change. It is obvious that Danzo does not want to let ninjas from other countries advance, but he just doesn't know what will happen in this second game. It could be as simple as that. Feng Yao simply looked around, and he vaguely found that there seemed to be too many Anbu ninjas around. Even for the safety of the candidates, it was impossible to arrange so many Anbu. What is the purpose? Okay, before that, please sign this consent form, because some people may die because of this, so you must get your consent in advance. After everyone signed the agreement one after another, the second session was ready to start. And Feng Yao also saw a group of Orochimaru disguised as Kusanagi. He was wearing a hat and reminiscing about the old days with his former student Red Bean. The iconic long tongue is sticking out, and it is amazing that the Red Bean didn't recognize it at the first time. The rules of the second game are still the same as Feng Yao understands. It is divided into 2 scrolls, Heaven and Earth. When they are collected at the same time, they will be successfully promoted if they reach the tower. Following the person in charge of each entrance, the candidates enter the corresponding entrance, and the preparation for the second exam begins. The voice of Red Beans resounded in the ears of every candidate. Everyone rushed into the exercise venue in unison, and soon after they entered, many members of the Anbu also followed, and the Red Beans did not stop them, but their eyes became a little gloomy after seeing those Anbu. I'll just take the scroll. I'll find another scroll and turn with you. You go first to the tower in the center. After coming in, Feng Yao once again gave instructions to Jin and Sark. He still has things to do, and he cannot let these 2 people disturb him. Yes, Lord Toss. What Feng Yao got is the scroll of the sky. If you want to advance, you must find the corresponding scroll of the earth. This forest is very large. If you want to capture the scrolls of other teams, you don't have to grab them. You can also ambush the other team. After advancing for more than 2 hours, Feng Yao encountered the first group of people who ambushed him. There is a sharp cracking sound in the air. More than a dozen kunai suddenly flew in front of him, accompanied by a trap under his feet. Someone was ambushing him here. Feng Yao took a step back, bit his fingers, and quickly slapped the ground with both hands. Spirituality. Silver Moon Wolf. Ow. A wolf king about the size of an elephant and covered in white hair appeared under Feng Yao. This is a contract signed by the slug fairy looking for a relationship. It is extremely fast and has strong detection capabilities. Go ahead and bring those people here. Feng Yao said in a flat tone, except for a few people who participated in the Chunin assessment this time, the others were all ordinary Jinin strengths, so naturally he couldn't defeat his psychic beast. The Wolf King roared up to the sky again and quickly disappeared into the forest. Ah, what kind of guy is this? It's terrible, I was killed. With a few shrill screams, in less than half a cup of tea, the Silver Moon Wolf came back again with the bodies of the 3 people in his mouth. It was the 3 Konoha ninjas. After searching their arms, it happened to be the Book of Earth that Feng Yao team needed. After putting away the scroll, he was about to leave when the Silver Moon Wolf suddenly sensed a trace of breath and roared towards Feng Yao's back. Feng Yao, who didn't look back, asked directly in a cold tone, "Who ordered you to kill me?" Chapter 26-Donzo's Secret Order. Several ninjas in the dark are not hiding. The 3 of them flew out directly. It was Konoha's Anbu members. Silver Moon Wolf rushed over to grab one's arm first, and rammed him away. The other 2 companions communicate with each other. Prioritize this son of ninja, if he keeps calling, it will be troublesome. You hold on first, we'll kill this son-in-law and help you later, then this beast is nothing to worry about. After speaking, the 2 left the bidden teammate and rushed over like Feng Yao. One person bit off the fingerprints of his fingers, and then quickly sank into the ground. 2 done. The technique of beheading in the heart. A pair of hands suddenly stretched out from under Feng Yao's feet, grabbed the bare feet, and directly pulled Feng Yao into the ground, leaving only one head on top. This is a ninjutsu that Kakashi used to Sasuke, and its main purpose is to trap the enemy. It worked. Another Anbu ninja was overjoyed, pulled out a ninja knife and slashed towards Feng Yao, which seemed to directly kill Feng Yao. Just when the knife was about to pierce Feng Yao's head, Feng Yao's mouth moves slightly. Flying Thunder God's Art. Swish. Feng Yao's body suddenly disappeared, leaving only an empty hole in the ground. What's the matter? The ninja using the earth escape also drilled out from the ground. As soon as he came out, the figure of Feng Yao appeared again without warning. The specially made kunai in his hand wiped it directly towards the opponent's neck. It's too fast. Blood splashed out from his neck, and the ninja covered his throat with both hands in disbelief and kept backing away, as if to block the lost blood. He didn't expect that he would die at the hands of a Yinyan Murakami. When he just grabbed Feng Yao's bare feet, Feng Yao directly planted the Flying Thunder God technique on him. The Silver Moon Wolf had also killed another Anbu ninja, and the other person saw this scene and knew that he would die, so he charged directly towards Feng Yao. He is a ninja, he cannot forget his mission, he cannot escape alone, he needs to complete his mission. Feng Yao threw kunai directly, and the opponent evaded and continued to attack. Flying Thunder God 2. Swish. This is Feng Yao who has already appeared behind the opponent with the help of kunai who planted the Flying Thunder God technique. With a heavy punch, the opponent flew out, and the Anbu member rolled several times before stopping, but he continued to climb up to fight Feng Yao. As a result, Feng Yao threw a few kunai and nailed it to the tree, unable to move. Feng Yao walked over and grabbed each other's neck with one hand. Tell me, what the hell are you doing in this Chunin exam, and where is a ninja named Tuenku in your Anbu now? While questioning the ninja in front of him, he also increased his strength. The other party's face was flushed, but he still stared at Feng Yao with resentful eyes, refusing to say a word. It's really troublesome, but if you don't say it, I can probably guess that from the first exam to reduce the number of ninjas in other countries, and then to send Anbu to kill the outstanding ninjas of the younger generation in other countries in this exam, it seems very soon Danzo will start wars against other countries, right? The ninja on the opposite side still refused to reveal a word, but the contraction of the pupils in his eyes let him know that his guess was correct. Unexpectedly, when the Kingdom of Wind wanted to attack Konoha, Konoha also had the same idea, and Danzo's ambitions were obviously much bigger, and the methods were more ruthless, so he directly ordered people to kill other people in this exam. The power of the new generation of the country. Feng Yao snorted inwardly, and then asked a question. Is Xianju responsible for killing ninjas from other countries in this second test? It's a pity that he didn't get the answer he wanted this time, because there was no change in the other party's eyes and muscles. If he didn't know it, he was really not in this operation. Feng Yao's force in his hand resulted in Anbu's life. Then seal the seal again to summon the psychic beast. Spirituality. Slug. What Feng Yao wanted to call was the slug immortal, and with the white smoke, a slug the size of a house appeared in the open space. Hey, Feng Yao, you finally remembered me. Where is this place? Looking at the curious slug fairy, Feng Yao explained, this is the Konoha ninja village. I want to ask the slug-sama to split and help me find a few people. It is impossible for such a big forest Feng Yao to find someone alone. What is needed at this time is the reconnaissance and detection type psychic beasts, and the silver moon wolf and the slug are obviously very suitable. Feng Yao told the two beasts about the current situation and the body type and characteristics of the person he was looking for. Immediately afterwards, the slug immortal split apart and scattered away, leaving only one by Feng Yao's side. Huh, you are still comfortable. When are you coming to Shigulin to accompany me? The little slug was beating on Feng Yao's head, while complaining. Feng Yao can only smile silently, his own affairs are still a big push, how can he have time? He can only perfunctory, it's coming, it's just 2, 3, 4 or 5 months. Hearing these perfunctory words, the frequency of the little slug jumping on Feng Yao's head increased again. Not long after, the first news came from the slug. 3 teams have already been assassinated, and I haven't seen the person you're looking for a while. Hey, there is a Kusanagi team that actually killed the opponent. Listening to Slug Immortal's surprised tone, he knew that the person was Bakung Orochimaru. Only the Gaara team, myself, and Orochimaru, who are capable of solving the Anbu elite, are the teams that do not belong to Konoha. I've found the one you're looking for, 3 in the west. Feng Yao smiled slightly after hearing this, and then immediately flew to the west. He found his target quickly after a while. Damn it, everyone is like a monster. Not to mention taking away other people's scrolls, it's very difficult to defend yourself. We are still burdened with the expectations of the village, we can't just go back in such an embarrassed way and follow it once. In front of them are 3 ninjas from the grassy village, 2 men and 1 woman. The girl has a very special red hair, wears a mesh ninja top and black stockings, and has a few bites on her body. This girl is another target of Feng Yao this time. Xianju, her ability can be said to be a very perverted one in Hokage. Bite her skin to restore chakra and injuries. Moreover, she has no attachment to Cao Yin. Although her strength is not good now, with a little training, she will definitely be a general of Xi'an in the future. The timing of his appearance is just right now, and the 2 Kusanagi are about to leave. I want to find a place to hide. Xianju, who is holding the scroll of earth in her hand, was a little flustered in her eyes, and then slowly got up. Roar! At this moment, a brown giant bear appeared behind Xianju and roared at her, and chased after her. Xianju stumbled and fell to the ground. Feng Yao knew that the opportunity was coming. He directly threw out the 3-pronged flying thunder god Kuei in his hand, and the second stage moved to Xianju's body. The giant bear was even more angry when he saw someone standing in front of him and wanted to take a photo. Iron block. The bear's claws fell, and Feng Yao's eyes seemed to widen. Condensing the iron in his hands, Feng Yao punched the bear on the stomach. The strong impact made its back bump up. Countless leaves. At this moment, Xianju also saw that someone saved her, but she couldn't see anything clearly. She only felt that the other party's breath was so warm, and she was no longer afraid. Feng Yao walked over, picked up Xianju's eyes and put them on her gently, and said softly. It's all right, are you hurt? Xianju vaguely saw that there was a man covered in bandages in front of her. She was a little taken aback, but her mood soon settled down, and she didn't know why she was so at ease. Feng Yao glanced at Xianju, then untied the bandage on his face. With a little apology, he said, "Is it the appearance of me that scared you? My name is Tuz, what is your name?" Here Feng Yao didn't tell Xianju her real name, because the opposite is not like Gara, she has no strength to protect herself. Looking at the man who not only made him feel at ease, but also so handsome, Xianju's cheeks immediately turned red. After looking at that face for a long time, it seemed to be a blasphemy against beautiful things, and Xianju lowered her head again. In a mosquito-sized voice, "I'm all right, thank you. It's done." He is not in a hurry to take Xianju as his subordinate now, the opponent is not strong enough now, he just needs to plant a seed in her heart. Feng Yao took out a three-pronged kunai, which had been planted with the Flying Thunder God technique, and handed it to Xianju. "Use this to protect yourself if you are in danger." After speaking, he gently touched Xianju's red hair, and then used the Flying Thunder God to leave. Xianju stayed in place for a long time before she could react. She lowered her head and looked at it, and then gently brought Kuwu closer to her arms. Chapter 27 Who is the Genius? The forest wind was blowing slowly, and occasionally there were beast roars and bird chirping, making the surroundings even more silent. The wind flies through the forest. Host, now the means of deceiving ignorant young girls have improved again. It seems that there was someone who wasn't happy with the system's beauty-enhancing pill and free mind and body. Listening to the cynicism of the system, Feng Yao's face was also a little uneasy. There was no way, who made him really fragrant. "Oh, the system is so big that I'm wrong, isn't it? Why can't I just talk about it? I'll win you over and say it again, I can't stand it." Seeing that Feng Yao's clothes were soft, the system snorted proudly and stopped talking. Not long after, more and more teams were hunted down by Konoha Onbi. Feng Yao was a little worried about Sak and Jin at the moment, not that he really cared about the safety of the two, but that 3 people needed to pass this level together, so he asked the Slug Fairy to help find their traces. "No problem, but there seems to be a Konoha ninja ahead of you." Hearing this, Feng Yao stopped and hid in a big tree just as he was about to observe the situation. A quiet voice came. "Don't hide, come out." Feng Yao narrowed his pupils, but he didn't expect to be discovered by the other party when he first came, just when he was about to go out. "Ha, isn't this Neji, the #1 rookie last year? Can you sign me?" A young girl's voice came out, and it seemed that he was not the only one nearby, so Feng Yao silently shrank back. At the same time, I saw the other side clearly. It was the situation when Neji and Shikamaru's squad met, and I was a coincidence. If possible, Feng Yao would be willing to dig a few Konoha people to join his organization. It is a pity that 80% of them are difficult to achieve. They cannot betray their villages who have been influenced by Konoha since childhood. Anyone else didn't notice it before. The veins beside Neji's eyes bulged, and Bai Yan immediately saw Feng Yao on the tree. As expected of the eyes, the detection ability is really scary. I also want to get Kakashi's eyes. Feng Yao, who was thinking silently in his heart, got down from the tree honestly. Everyone in Shikamaru's group was surprised, they just found no one at all. This person is the former Yinren, this guy seems to be their leader, and his 2 companions don't seem to be here. Ino whispered to his teammates. "You don't want to ask him to grab the scrolls, this guy killed a guy who was a ninja in the first match. Shikamaru was a little troublesome. How about that, where can we find someone weaker than us? The number is dominant, and he happens to be Yinren." Shikamaru's squad discussed how to grab the scroll, while Neji looked at Feng Yao with a solemn expression. Unlike Shikamaru and others, he can see a person's chakra flow through his white eyes, and he sees that Feng Yao's chakra flow and volume are by no means an ordinary Jinin. Seeing the long-lost strong man made him a little excited. "Let's have a contest. Whoever loses will give his team's scroll hands to him." Feng Yao glanced at Neji with interest, but the proposal was not tempting for him. I have already got the scroll, and it is impossible for the opponent to win against me, but now Neji actually resents the Zong family, can he use this to win over to his own faction? I can play against you, but I have to change the conditions, because I already have the scroll, and it will not do me any good to win you. Feng Yao's low voice came from the bandage, and Ino said madly, why did that guy get the scroll? We don't have it yet. Neji frowned. What do you want me to do? I need you to do me a favor in the future. As for what it is, I haven't made up my mind yet, but I can guarantee that it will not go against your wishes. Neji thought for a moment, then took up a fighting stance, indicating that he agreed. After that, he attacked the past first. Neji is good at soft boxing, Konoha's strongest style of taijutsu. The boxing technique that directly attacks the choroid system can injure the internal organs, even if it is just rubbed, it may be fatal. Ningqi attacked with one punch. Feng Yao didn't want to take it hard. The opponent used a soft fist. If it was a rigid fist similar to Shaoli's that caused damage to the body, you could use an iron block to resist it. This is still a tug of war with the opponent. Okay. Seeing Feng Yao retreat, Ningji's eyes tightened and he didn't intend to give the other party a chance, so he quickly followed. Soft boxing technique, 64 palms of 8 diagrams. It seemed that a huge gossip plate suddenly appeared in front of him, and Neji's palm became extremely fast, all of which were aimed at the acupuncture points of the human body. If he was hit, he would be directly sealed by chakra. But it was a pity that he met Feng Yao. In an instant, he understood the acupoints and moves that Neji's ninjutsu attacked him. The more shocked. Could it be that the other party has learned from the masters of our Hyuga family? He actually understands my physical skills so well. Ino on the side was surprised. He shook Shikamaru next to him and said, no way, even Neji couldn't beat that guy. Neji was called a genius last school year. Shikamaru retorted, no. Then pointed at Feng Yao with a finger, with a little panic in his eyes. Ningji is no longer a genius, the one who fought against him is a real genius. Ah, why do you say that? You may not have noticed just now that when the Yin Ren first dealt with Neji, he obviously never fought with Neji, which means that he didn't know about the soft boxing of Rixion's family. At times, too, at the very beginning, I reacted hastily and retreated. Quote. But that guy obviously took the initiative immediately after seeing Neji's first swipe, and completely analyzed Neji's attack pattern, which means that in just a few seconds in the battle, he took Hyuga home on behalf of him. The secret ninjutsu passed down from generation to generation has been cracked. This guy is so scary, let's go quickly. After Shikamaru explained in a solemn tone, he pulled Ino and the two to leave. After playing all the gossip 64 palms, Neji was also panting slightly. He couldn't believe that the ninjutsu he had cultivated for so long could not even touch the corners of other people's clothes. Feng Yao directly punched Ningqi's stomach, and then stood a few meters away from him, sighing slightly. You can't beat me now, just give up. Neji clenched his fists, his nails sank deep into the flesh, and the last punch hit the ground. He felt deeply powerless, whether it was fate or strength. Everything is doomed, the ability and destiny of a person's life are doomed, just like the clan and the branch, and the man in front of me is the same as me. He buried his head deeply on the ground, his body trembling in pain. Feng Yao walked over and put his hand on his shoulder. Human life can be freely dominated, not manipulated, and your future will never be limited to this, Neji Hyuga. After hearing this, Neji's body was no longer trembling. He looked up at the man with the bandages. He was about to say something, but suddenly the other's face turned gloomy, and even his breath became extremely terrifying. From the look in his eyes all Ningji saw was endless killing intent. I'm sorry, Neji, seeing that I still have things to deal with, this time it's a draw. After speaking, without waiting for Neji to answer, he used the Flying Thunder God technique and left, leaving only Ningqi stunned in place. Around the exam room at the moment. Yeah, it's better to eat meatballs with red bean soup. When it's over, Those Anbu guys should have dealt with it as well. I really don't know what Hokage-sama thinks. All offended. The red bean said worriedly while eating the balls and drinking the red bean soup. Something's happened, Red Bean Chief Examiner. A Konoha ninja wearing glasses suddenly came over to report. What happened? 3 corpses were found, and they died in a strange way. Please go and have a look. After following the Konoha ninja out, they came to a place with a Buddha statue. All the belongings and examination evidence of the 3 corpses have been taken away, and their faces have also been melted. It is Orochimaru's face removal technique, which is a cold-blooded ninjutsu that can take a person's face as his own. This ninjutsu, it's him. How could he appear here? No. I am afraid that the Anbu ninja who went in to assassinate has already been solved by him. Thinking of this, Anbu did not hesitate and immediately turned to the ninja next to him. Go and report the situation here to Hokage-sama, this matter is very important. Chapter 28-must kill. Swoosh, _. A figure flew in the sky, piercing the sky, making a sharp sound. It is Feng Yao. At this moment, his chakra broke out, and he used the moon step to move forward with all his strength. This speed is quite scary. Because the slug just said that he found it, and found the culprit who chased and killed him and killed his savior, Anbu Ninja Xianju. While in front, Naruto and Sasuke were lying on the ground with scars at the moment, and Sasuke was in a coma with a curse mark planted on the back of his neck by Orochimaru. Xiaoli next to him suppressed Jin and Sak by himself, while Sakura stayed safely beside Naruto Sasuke. Without the real twos this time, Sark and Jin are obviously not Xiaoli's opponents. Soon fell into a disadvantage, and Sark was seriously injured by Xiaoli's blow to Biaolianhua, but he still stood up tenaciously and fought with Xiaoli. Enough, you two are not my opponents. If you continue, you may die. Xiaoli was panting heavily, and it was obvious that he was not at ease after using the Watch Lotus flower. However, although Sak is arrogant, he is extremely loyal to Orochimaru, and he will complete his mission even to the death. He continued to charge like Xiaoli in front of him. Sakura was also taken aback by Sak's madness. At this moment, a black figure flashed out and pinned Sak to the ground with one elbow. Sak screamed in pain, spit out a mouthful of blood, and was crushed to the ground dying. HMPH, from Yinan village, but the 3 of them have survived to this day, but it's time for you to leave the stage. The cold voice came from under the animal mask, it was the members of Anbu. Sakura and Xiaoli also looked relieved. Although they didn't know why Anbu was here, they should have been saved. Seeing this scene, Jin wanted to run away subconsciously, but another Anbu member held his throat with kunai. Let's get out of here quickly, these few Yinren will be handled by us. An Anbu member opened his mouth, wanting to take Sakura and others away, and then secretly dealt with ninjas from other countries. Although he didn't know what the other party wanted to do, Anbu was his own army after all, and Sakura and the others were still obedient and ready to leave. At this moment, a sharp piercing sound rang out. A figure appeared behind Jin, and kunai instantly pierced through the Anbu that controlled Jin. The Anbu member looked at kunai penetrating his chest, and the speed of the other party was too fast for him to react. Don't hesitate to kill. Then he threw the Anbu ninja aside like throwing garbage, and Kim shouted excitedly. Master Twos, you are here, we are carrying out the mission of Master Orochimaru, and these Anbu suddenly rushed out. But Feng Yao waved his hand to stop the other party from talking, he didn't come here to save people at all. Sakura and others on the opposite side were obviously taken aback when they saw this scene. The other party killed the members of Anbu so neatly. At the same time, the Shikamaru team who hid here was also surprised. Wow, damn it, why is this guy again, he even dared to kill Anbu, what should I do? Ino was frantic again. However, just at this moment, a Kunwu rushed towards Feng Yao with a detonating talisman, pulling Jin to jump up to avoid the explosion. Xianju, who had been hiding in the dark, flew behind Feng Yao and slashed across with a ninja knife, with a sharp chakra attached to it. If it were an ordinary person, he would probably be cut into 2 sections. Seeing that Tuanju, Fengyao also broke out. Tuanju, finally let me find you. You are the first person I have to kill today when I come to Konoha. Fengyao threw Jin away directly. 6 styles. Iron nuggets. Holding Tuanjo's knife with one hand, his right hand slammed directly into Tuanjo's head. Bang! With an explosion, Tuanju turned into a piece of wood in the white smoke, and he just used a double-acting technique to avoid Fengyao's attack. Wind escape, wind-cutting technique. Tuanjo's hands in knots used the wind escape ninjutsu that he was best at. This technique can cut things with cracking wind, and a high-pressure wind flew directly towards Fengyao. But unfortunately, when he was just holding the knife by Fengyao, he had already been planted with the Flying Thunder God technique. Swish! Fengyao appeared directly beside Tuanju. Sanjikuwu stabbed into the opponent's arm. Blood splashed. This arm has been abolished. The current Tuanju was unable to form the seal, so he picked up the shuriken with the other hand and threw it at Fengyao. After an easy flash, Fengyao crushed his other arm with one hand. Tuanju grunted, but didn't make a sound. He took a few steps back and asked Fengyao, "Who are you? What do you want to do when you sneak into Konoha? Why do you say that I am someone you must kill?" While procrastinating, he did not forget to wink at the remaining companion. But Fengyao obviously didn't care about this. He played with the kuwu in his hand and joked, "Don't you know me? It's no wonder that I have changed quite a bit. Then you always remember that you killed Muya village not far away. Old doctor." In the end, Fengyao's eyes were full of cold killing intent. "You are Fengyao. How dare you come to Konoha village?" Tuanju now knew why the other party had such a big grudge against him, and at this time another of his teammates also completed the work. "Don't move, Fengyao. Your 2 companions are in my hands now, and I'll kill them if they mess up." The Anbu members who had just controlled Sark also took the opportunity to capture Jin when Fengyao was entangled with Tuanju, and used it to threaten Fengyao. Tuanju seemed to see the hope of life. He swallowed. Said quite proudly, "How is it now, Fengyao? Let's talk. Let us go. As long as we leave here safely, I promise not to hurt your fellow." Before he could finish speaking, Fengyao wiped his neck with a knife and looked at Fengyao in disbelief. His hands were so crippled that he couldn't reach out to block the wound on his throat. With the blood draining, watching his life dissipate. "We could have been talking." He took his last breath in the middle of his words. Fengyao just looked at his corpse indifferently and said, "I said you are the one I must kill, and no one can stop me." The people next to him were terrified by this scene, and the Anbu knew that he was going to die, and immediately detonated the detonating charm on his body, trying to drag 2 people into the water. Boom! After an explosion, Sark and Jin were placed on a tree by Fengyao unharmed and stayed with them for so long. Naturally, he also planted the Flying Thunder God technique for them. The first time he saved Jin, he used Flying Thunder God to teleport directly. Then Fengyao turned his attention to the position of Sakura and Shikamaru again, and both groups felt shivering when they were stared at. But in fact, Fengyao also stared at them with fierce eyes. His enemies were only Danzang and Tuanju. Destroying Konoha is just a means for him to complete the killing of Danzo. Only Chaos has a chance, and naturally he will not kill more unnecessary people. And they are also their former classmates. "Thank you, Lord Twos. What should these people do?" Orochimaru ordered us to kill Sasuke. After Sak's difficult Fengyao thanked him, he asked about Sakura and others' disposal. Sakura was obviously nervous after hearing it. "You go to the tower first. You don't need to worry about things here." Seeing that Fengyao was willing to take care of the aftermath, the 2 naturally felt relieved and supported each other before heading towards the tower. After the 2 walked away, Fengyao came to Xiaoying in a blink of an eye. Although his physique was special, he killed someone in front of others after all. Sakura didn't seem to be at all calm, but instead kept shaking. "Don't be nervous, I won't kill them." After saying this, he squatted beside Sasuke. At the moment Feng Yao is avenging his parents, and Sasuke is not the same. Anyway, he has the power to take revenge, but Sasuke has nothing. In the end, he chose to fall into the darkness in order to pursue the power. He put one hand on Sasuke's head, and mobilized his mental power to calm Sasuke's emotions first, at least not to be in danger. Later, looking at Naruto, he also heard a little about Naruto's situation. Danzo's ascendance led to Naruto being monitored and imprisoned. This can be said to be an indirect consequence of his own, so he also stored some chakra and spiritual power in Naruto, which can help him when he is swallowed by the Nine Tails in the future. But now that they all know their true identities, Feng Yao definitely can't let them pass the test directly. He carried Naruto and Sasuke on their backs, and then said to Sakura and Shikamaru next to him, "I took these two people away. If you talk nonsense about what happened now, then I will not hesitate to kill them." Then he planted the Flying Thunder God technique on them, and tricked him by saying, "This technique can sense what you say, and your words and deeds will be under my control. Then use the Flying Thunder God technique to leave here." Everyone's faces were extremely ugly, and Sakura burst into tears. Sasuke. Chapter 29-Spiral Flash Super Wheel Dance Roar 3 Styles. The sky is cloudy and cloudy, but Danzo's mood at the moment is not very good. He received news that Orochimaru entered the village. For the rebellion of this village, if he was not Hokage, he might have used the other party, and now he can't wait to get rid of it. Assemble all the ninjas and prepare to besiege Orochimaru. Danzo gave the order directly, but Red Bean stopped him. "Lord Naruto, if you decide to encircle Orochimaru now, he will stop at nothing to destroy Konoha, and now some of our ninjas have been dispatched to the country of wind. The risk to be taken is too great, the other party is 3-1 of patience." After hearing this advice, Danzo also calmed down. The Orochimaru thing cannot be ignored, but the safety of the village must be guaranteed. "Hongdu, go and call Rigian too. Orochimaru is his disciple after all." At this time, Danzo remembered the third generation of eyes. Now the village is in short supply, and Orochimaru is a disciple of the third generation of eyes, so it is natural for the third generation to fight against Orochimaru. He also needs to go to the tower in person. One is to see what the purpose of Orochimaru is, and the other is to teach the new generation of Konoha. Originally, according to his wishes, only Konoha's team would be left in the third level, so that Konoha's powerful national strength could be well displayed in front of the great names of various countries. Win more funds and tasks, but there are still too many changes. The camera turned to the tower, and after 5 days of competition, the final result was finally won. The final promotion teams are Yaoshido Squad, Gaara Squad, Sound Ninja Trio, Tooth Squad, Neji Squad, Shikamaru Squad. Everyone looked at each other's advancing teams and thought to themselves, "Naruto, no, to advance. Well, that Feng Yao is to defeat the 3 generations of rebellion. Damn, how can I tell this news to others, and now he is under his surveillance. Has that Sasuke been dealt with? Forget it, since it was dealt with, it means that the child is nothing more than that. The breath of the person next to me is very comfortable." Looking at the crowd on the field, Kakashi waited for Shangnan and Danzo to walk into the hall. "First of all, congratulations to everyone who passed the second exam. Next, please announce the rules of the third exam." Danzo slowly stepped forward and stood in the center, looked around, and finally stared at a man wearing a Konoha forehead with erect pupils leaning on the side. He knew that this was Orochimaru. After a short time, he looked back. Feng Yao saw that Tuanzang's eyes did not fluctuate at all, as if it was the first time they met. Now he can't be seen by the other party. There are so many Jonin here, if he kills himself, 80% of the time. The request for the third game is very simple, the so-called individual battle, but I want to explain one thing. I want you to spare no effort to win for Konoha. This is not only your personal game, but also the epitome of the war between countries. If you win, you will bring Konoha's strong prestige to the surrounding countries, and you can deter each other diplomatically. You have to sacrifice your life to bring victory to Konoha. Danzo said with a strong tone to the ninja in front of Konoha. There was another uproar in the crowd, and then a blast of moonlight appeared to take over the scene. Although he didn't die in Hideyoshi's hands, he did lose one eye, which slightly affected his combat effectiveness. Next, please leave it to me, Hokage-sama. As I remembered, the next battle was to reduce the number of people. But what is suspicious is that the three of Sand Ren's group actually happened to meet Feng Yao's Yin Ren trio, and after a little guess, he knew that it was Danzo's idea again. Jin and Sak were defeated without any suspense in the hands of Konkuro and Tamari, and the next was the battle between Gaara and Feng Yao. Seeing that it was Feng Yao Gaara, his eyes were stunned for a moment, and the friendship between the mission and Feng Yao made him struggle. I love Luo, what are you waiting for? I really want to fight with you. When Gaara was still making a decision, Feng Yao jumped down first, telling Gaara that he didn't have to hesitate. Gaara raised the corner of his mouth slightly when he saw this scene. He also dragged himself off the field with sand, and the game between the two officially began. Yaojun's game. Orochimaru watched with interest, he was too nostalgic for Feng Yao's body. Gaara attacked first. Although he had never seen Feng Yao's attack, he would not despise the man in front of him. Rain when sand bombs. The sand behind the gourd wrapped around him and shot a large number of round sand bullets in front of him. Spirituality. Silver Moon Wolf. The white-haired Wolf King appeared beside Feng Yao again. Feng Yao grabbed its hair to avoid Gaara's attack, and almost 1/10 of the small open space on the field was occupied by wolves. Seeing this speed-type psychic beast, Gaara changed his strategy. He formed the seal again, and pinched towards Feng Yao's position with one hand. Sandbound. A large area of sand on the ground rises into the air, and this spell has a very large catch-up range. Seeing that it was impossible to avoid, Feng Yao summoned the psychic beast again to deal with it. Spirituality. Chilling Sea Lion. This is also a psychic technique in the sea that Feng Yao Tuo found. As soon as the sea lion came out, seeing the scene that was about to be surrounded by sand, he immediately understood and opened his mouth wide. Water Escape. Great Waterfall Technique. Cold Heart Sea Lion Feng Yao is one of the few advanced psychic beasts in his hands. He can use ninjutsu and communicate with himself. The huge water ball hit the sand, and the sand became very heavy when it met the water, and the sand bond was broken without attacking. Lord Feng Yao, how am I doing? The sea lion asked Feng Yao proudly, but Gaara didn't want to give Feng Yao a chance to chat. He will use the next move to decide the outcome. If Feng Yao keeps summoning psychic beasts, he may be consumed to death. The Spear of the Guarding Crane. The sand continued to condense and fuse in front of him, and finally formed a huge sand spear nearly 2 meters long. Fuck, this kid Gaara is really fighting. It seems that I can only be more serious. Seeing that Gaara was going to make more moves, Feng Yao had to get serious. He took out a few kunai in his hand, and then a few flashbangs in his hand. When Gaara threw the Spear of Sho Crane, Feng Yao also threw out his own kunai with the Flying Thunder God technique. 3 styles of Spiral Flash Super Wheel Dance and Roar. This trick is the famous stunt of the 4 generations, but in Feng Yao's impression, the 4 generations have never used it, except when saving Kakashi. In fact, it is very simple to use the flash bomb to emit a dazzling yellow electric light, so that the opponent mistakenly thinks it is a ninjutsu that obstructs the line of sight, and uses the Flying Thunder God move to defeat the enemy logically. The dazzling flash can't affect Feng Yao. He used kunai to move quickly in the battlefield, and the automatic defense sand couldn't keep up with his speed. Gaara fell into a blind state, and the Spear of the Crane couldn't aim at all. Feng Yao used Kuwu to cut more than a dozen holes in his clothes. After the light dissipated, Gaara voluntarily conceded defeat. Just now Feng Yao had shown mercy to him. I didn't expect Yaojun to even master the art of Flying Thunder Gods. That technique just now. It's a ninjutsu that obstructs the line of sight. Everyone is still discussing. After all, not everyone can know the technique of Flying Thunder God, and the 4 generations of famous stunts. What followed was the melee within the Konoha team. Yao Shido still gave up at the beginning, but because of one more player, Ninki had a bye. Therefore, the final promotions are Shaoli, Shino, Shikamaru, Ya, Neji, Tiantian, Konkuro, Tamari and Feng Yao himself. The final game will be held in 3 days, which is earlier than Feng Yao expected. It is estimated that Danzo has some plans. After the game. Sakura, what's going on? Where are Naruto and Sasuke? Kakashi looked at Sakura anxiously. As soon as he returned to the village, he found that Naruto and the others were not promoted this time. But it was nothing, but Sakura was the only one left to come out. Naruto and Sasuke disappeared. Asked Sakura and didn't answer, just said they weren't dead. This news is still unknown to the top management of the village such as Danzo. Otherwise, if they knew that the Nine-Tails Manzuli would be lost in the village, this matter would be turned upside down, especially in the current situation. Kakashi-sensei, I can't say, I can only tell you after the game is over, it would be dangerous if Sasuke and the others were better. Seeing Sakura's frightened appearance, Kakashi also softened and just sighed. At this time, a figure stood not far away. I think I can tell you what happened, Kakashi-sensei. The person who came out of the dark was the future IQ of Konoha Ninja Village, Shikamaru Nara. Chapter 30 against Kakashi. Shikamaru, how are you? Kakashi, who saw Shikamaru, was stunned for a moment, and the other party seemed to know the whereabouts of Naruto Sasuke. No, Sasuke, they will die. Seeing Sakura looking so anxious, Shikamaru quickly explained. Don't be afraid of Sakura, what that guy gave me is not a spell that can be monitored at all. Although I don't know what it is, I can be sure that it does not have the effect of monitoring. Hearing Sakura here, he calmed down a little, and Kakashi also learned the ins and outs of the matter under Shikamaru's notification. Kakashi immediately looked for Feng Yao's figure here, and finally he thought of something and came to an alley. This is Feng Yao's home, and Feng Yao is indeed here. It was already full of dust and messy furniture all over the floor, and Feng Yao was sitting on a chair that seemed to fall down at any moment. Looking at Kakashi who came in suddenly, Feng Yao was stunned for a while. Then he said calmly, it seems that Shikamaru saw through the spell I left behind. Kakashi stared at Feng Yao cautiously. He knew that the other party was an extremely dangerous person, but he did not leave behind. He's a smart kid, what have you done to Naruto and Sasuke? Kakashi's first question was about the safety of both Naruto and Naruto. Feng Yao, whose identity was discovered, was not only answering Kakashi's question, but also observing if there were any other people around. They're still alive, and when I'm done with what I'm going to do, they'll be fine. What do you want to do? Listening to Kakashi's question, Feng Yao spoke slowly. I want the head of the 5th Hokage, and for this I will not hesitate to destroy Konoha. Hearing this, Kakashi's face immediately became angry. He was also a man who inherited the will of fire, and he would never allow anyone to hurt his companion. If that's the case, then how about a bet? If I win, you have to give up destroying Konoha, if you win. Feng Yao suddenly waved his hand to interrupt him. If I win, I want your shaker. Kakashi's eyes widened, he touched his soiled eye, and finally made up his mind. Okay, let's do that. After saying this, Feng Yao grabbed Kakashi with one hand and took him directly away from the village. If he started directly in the village, the movement would be too great. Watching the surrounding scenery change instantly, Kakashi was once again surprised by Feng Yao's mystery. He used to be a disciple of the 4th generation, and naturally he could see that Feng Yao was using the technique of Flying Thunder God. Kakashi stood less than a few dozen steps away from Feng Yao and stated the rules of this bet. 3 attacks, you can't dodge, you can only use ninjutsu to resist hard. If you can withstand my 3 attacks, then you will win, otherwise, I will win. This Kakashi is awesome. Feng Yao felt that it was difficult at this time, which was equivalent to directly abolishing his own Flying Thunder God technique. Presumably this was a strategy that Kakashi came up with after seeing it. If he allows himself to use Flying Thor, Kakashi will never hit him no matter what. Feng Yao thought for a moment. Okay, I agree, and I hope you will keep your promise too. Hearing this, Kakashi's face was solemn. Even if Feng Yao gave him the opportunity to attack these 3 times, he could not guarantee that he could defeat Feng Yao, and could only try his best to gain an advantage for himself. His hands quickly began to form seals. As a copy ninja of Konoha, his speed of forming seals was much faster than ordinary people. Ugly, Mao, Shen. Then place your right hand on the ground and hold your right wrist with your left hand. S-rank ninja, Rachel. Chakra is concentrated in Kakashi's palm, forming a high-intensity current. His hand is like a sharp blade, powerful enough to penetrate the human body. It is also one of Kakashi's famous stunts, which is characterized by a concentrated attack on a single point of thrust. Kakashi, who opened the wheel eye, dragged his right hand and rushed towards Feng Yao quickly, and the stones on the ground were lifted by powerful lightning. Feng Yao bit his finger and shot into the ground. Spirituality. Hard Rock Panda. A burst of white smoke exploded, and a black and white panda appeared in the middle of the two of them. Its body was almost entirely made of huge, hard stones, and it was a fairly good meat shield. Bang! Kakashi's Rachel collided violently with the panda's stomach. Rachel ran through most of the panda's body before stopping, but unfortunately this move didn't hurt Feng Yao. Kakashi pulled out his arm and stepped back. The panda it also disappeared into a cloud of smoke. My technique may be blocked by his psychic beast, in that case. It was the same knot as before, but this time Kakashi did not stab, but clenched his right hand and made a throwing motion. Rachel Lehu kills. This is a form of Laki's transformation, changing into a wolf, which is more flexible than Laki. If Feng Yao continues to use the psychic beast this time, then Kakashi will manipulate the Thunder Wolf to avoid it and go straight to Feng Yao. Kakashi is really a ninja good at wits. Feng Yao also secretly admired. However, he didn't plan to dodge this attack. Although Thunder Tiger Tongshan's attack power is not weak, its penetration is not as good as the orthodox Laki. The wind blows the body. 6 forms, iron nuggets. The Thunder Wolf's teeth directly bit Feng Yao's shoulder, and the thunder and lightning also moved frantically on Feng Yao's body, and the lightning strike for tens of seconds ended. There were 2 more blood holes on Feng Yao's shoulders, and some scars appeared on his body. But soon the blood was stopped. Xiaoyao Zhimind and body improved cell activity. Feng Yao's recovery speed was extremely fast, and he could be called Xiaoqiang who couldn't be beaten to death. Kakashi began to pant. After all, he still lacked blue, and after using Rachel twice, he was a little bit tired, but it was obvious that Feng Yao had not been hurt too much. But he had one last move, and Kakashi took a deep breath. His writing wheel eyes have changed, and the 3 hook jades blend with each other to form a kaleidoscope writing wheel eye. Divine Might. Kakashi's kaleidoscope writing wheel eyes widened, and the space as far as his eyes began to melt. Feng Yao did not dare to be careless in the face of this powerful time-space pupil technique. Before the space was completely formed, he quickly completed the seal. Spirituality. Triple Rashomon. Rashomon belongs to a kind of props psychic, and he can also master it now. 3 gates with a height of nearly 100 meters rose from the ground, blocking Kakashi's line of sight, so that Shinwei could not directly hit Feng Yao. Kakashi finally destroyed one of the Rashomon in front of him and then exhausted himself. All 3 techniques cost him a lot of chakra. You lose, Kakashi. Feng Yao put away Rashomon and walked slowly to Kakashi. Kakashi, who was panting heavily, raised his eyes and saw Feng Yao's calm eyes, as if he had expected his failure. After barely standing up, Kakashi spoke again. Yes, I lost, but I still want to negotiate a condition with you. At this time, Feng Yao frowned, and he hadn't said anything yet, but Kakashi's demands kept coming one after another. Feng Yao said angrily, "Come on, I'm going to take your shackle after I'm done." "It's okay to take my shaker," but I want to ask you to do me and Konoha a favor, and you can kill Danzo without being held accountable." Kakashi made his request in a weak tone. Feng Yao jokingly said after hearing it, "Why should I promise you? I can directly destroy Konoha, and then kill Danzo, who can hold me accountable." When Kakashi proposed this condition, Feng Yao had already thought of a lot of things. The third generation belonged to the moderate faction, while Danzo belonged to the martial arts faction. As a high-level executive, the third generation naturally knew about Danzo's war actions against the country of Wind, but the third generation must not kill Danzo by himself, and Kakashi negotiated with him on behalf of the third generation. Kakashi was not anxious when he heard Feng Yao's rejection at first, but calmly analyzed for him. "If you destroy Konoha, other countries will definitely see you as a thorn in your side, and your life may not be easy, but if you agree to our request, then we will give you some help when you kill Danzo, but you can't hurt other people. In the end, your enemy is only Danzo, and we feel sorry for you about your parents, but when the third generation was in power, they never felt sorry for them, and they would not want to see you destroy Konoha for revenge." Speaking of this, Feng Yao's face has obviously eased a little, but the ninja world still speaks with strength. He doesn't think that standing on the third generation's side can help him. "Kakashi, I admit that what you said has a point, but even if I agree, how can you help me? Is it up to you? Or 3 generations?" At this time, a voice replaced Kakashi's answer. "By me." Feng Yao turned his head to look, a figure made his pupils shrink. Then Feng Yao turned to Kakashi and smiled meaningfully. "I should have thought of it earlier, I agree with your request." Chapter 31-Destruction of Roots. The drizzle is blowing, and the whole Konoha village is even more verdant. After talking with Kakashi about all the details, Feng Yao took Kakashi back home again. "Kakashi, it's time to honor your promise." Feng Yao sat back on the shabby chair and opened his mouth again. Kakashi didn't hesitate to open his forehead, revealing his writing wheel eyes. He was ready. Feng Yao also stretched out his hand slowly, and Kakashi felt a cold hand on his eyelids. "I'm sorry, Obito." When Kakashi silently apologized to Obito in his heart, Feng Yao had already taken his hand back at the second time, just when he didn't know what the other party was doing. "Okay, it's all right." Hearing that Feng Yao was done, Kakashi was stunned. "Didn't he want my Sharingan? Just touch it like that." Looking at Kakashi's unbelievable expression, Feng Yao said, "I just need some cells from your eyes. I don't want to wear other people's eyeballs." Hearing this, Kakashi is also relieved. This eye not only represents most of his strength, but also is the only gift left by his best friend Obito. "System, is this enough?" Feng Yao, who got the Sharingan cells, asked silently in his heart. "Yes, you are now trying to absorb these cells." According to the system, Feng Yao inhaled the writing wheel eye cells just touched on his fingers into his body. He felt a peculiar chakra rushing from his fingers to his eyes. After a moment of pain, his eyes quickly flashed the traces of the kaleidoscope writing wheel, but it was only for a moment. Even Kakashi didn't notice it. He felt that he not only possessed the time-space pupil technique possessed by Kakashi's eye, but also possessed the eye of Obito, blurring, divine power. Just when he was confused, the system said to him, "The eyes are originally a pair of eyes. If the host has cells with earthy eyes, the time and space capabilities of both eyes can naturally be obtained, and the writing wheel eyes have been assimilated by the host's constitution. When using it, even if the eyes have not changed, it can be used." Use. There is such a good thing, isn't that a must for yin people? In this way, when you fight against others, everyone thinks that they are just ordinary eyes. Afterwards, I unexpectedly threw them a divine power, and the effect was full. Feng Yao took a deep look at Kakashi. "Sorry, Obito's eyes have already arrived, and your experience will be stuck for a few hundred days." As for Konoha's only request to Feng Yao, that is to destroy the root and cut off Danzo's right-hand man. All of Danzo's cronies are Gen's members, and most of the supporters of the war against Sand Shinobi are Gen's members. In fact, Many mainstays of Jonin and even Konoha did not support this action. Therefore, the third generation will do everything to stop Danzo's behavior, even if it means sacrificing Danzo and sacrificing his roots, even if it is to cooperate with him as a betrayal. Let Fengyao assassinate Danzo to destroy the roots and reselect Hokage. In return, they will help Fengyao and eliminate Fengyao's treason and forbearance. Fengyao also put forward an additional condition, that is, Hyuga Neji who took Konoha away. Neji can't deny that he was definitely a genius in the early stage of Hokage, but it's a pity that there are too many plugins in the back, and there is no room for Neji to show. In the end, Kakashi agreed on behalf of the three generations. After all, Neji was only a member of the split family. The ninja world is often like this. There are no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. In the past few months, the two sides were fighting to the death. Today, they are comrades on the same front. 2 days later, before Konoha was about to attack, Fengyao and Kakashi came to Gen's station, and Gen was the vanguard of Konoha's troops. Then I'll leave it to you here, Kakashi said in a low voice, and then handed Fengyao a stack of documents. After remembering everyone, he said coldly, "The roots won't exist from today on." Speaking slowly, he walked to the station, and the people of Gen also found Fengyao not far away, and immediately became alert. Because of Danzang's upper position, Gen's development has grown a lot, and there are almost 100 people. There are 3 members of the root guarding the door. Who is it? We'll be welcome if you're approaching. A root ninja spoke first, but Fengyao didn't mean to stop at all. Seeing Fengyao, he didn't intend to answer, and the root people were also welcome. To Dun Wangquan Marsh. The soil under Fengyao's feet suddenly turned into liquid. Swish. Almost at the moment when the Earth Escape ninjutsu was just formed, Fengyao disappeared directly, and when the members of the root were searching for his trace, several 3-forked kuna flew over. When he turned his head to dodge, he noticed that Kunai had a strange spell, but it was too late. Fengyao used Flying Thunder God to teleport to Kunai's position. 3-stage Flying Thunder God slash. The 3 people at the door were instantly killed, and Fengyao walked into the station with Kuwu, like Shira who was asking for his life. At the moment of entering the door, the members of the root collectively discovered the intruder Fengyao. Someone is invading. The Earth Escape and the cracking Earth turn palms. The art of fire escape and vegetarian burning. Too done too long done. There were dramatic changes on the ground, and countless stone pillars sprang from the ground to pierce Fengyao, and flames appeared directly on the body. But these ninjutsu perfectly penetrated Fengyao's body without leaving any trace of damage. This is Fengyao's use of the power of his right eye to put his body into the divine space, which is the blurring ability of his right eye. What's the matter? Illusion. It's not illusion, you are too weak. Speaking of Fengyao, he started to seal, and after biting his fingers, he summoned the strongest combat power that he could channel. Spirituality. The 5 ghosts of the underworld. After the huge smoke, the entire stronghold was broken by the huge body of the 5 ghosts. The 5 ghosts roared together, and when the members of the root saw that the situation was not good, they quickly sent people to report to Danzo. But not long after running out, a silver-white wolf rushed out and bit the man's neck. No, we're not his opponents, so why didn't Junin come to support him? A character who seemed to be the leader of the team in the root said anxiously. Fengyao listened and sneered. Why do you think? There is a reason why the Shang Nin didn't come here. Hearing this, the person opposite was stunned, and after a short thought, he shouted. He understood that this was Konoha's other Joinin united actions against Danzo. Everyone flees with all their strength, and must go back to Hokage-sama. It's too late. The realm of the underworld. A dark red enchantment spread out from the 5 ghosts, until it wrapped the entire station of the root. This is an ultimate move that can be used after the 5 ghosts cooperate together, which temporarily blocks the space and doubles the combat power of the 5 ghosts in the field. 5 ghosts, kill them. Roar _. 5 behemoths rushed into the crowd, harvesting the lives of the battlefield like chopping melons and vegetables. Their means vary. The evil spirit wailed on the spot, and the mentally weak person sat on the ground and couldn't move, waiting to be harvested for life. The evil spirits and the ghouls were directly killing the crowd. What monster is this? Damn it, the barrier can't be broken. No, my chakra was sucked by that ghost. In the enchantment, there was a purgatory on earth, and many people who were killed stood up again and rushed to their former teammates. This is the ability of a ghoul. In less than half a stick of incense, the entire route was massacred. At this time, Feng Yao saw that a man who kept drawing all kinds of beasts with a pen was still insisting. This person is Sakai, and he is still a member of Gen. He ordered the 5 ghosts to stop attacking him. A flying thunder god technique came to Sakai's side, and Sakai summoned several huge ink tigers from the painting book to bite at Feng Yao. After the blur escaped, Feng Yao grabbed his shoulder and sucked him into the divine space. Sai's ability is also very peculiar, and his strength is not bad, and he can be accepted as a subordinate. As for the education work, I will deal with it after Konoha things settle down. Looking up and looking around, except for Feng Yao himself, there is no living creature in this place. Feng Yao ordered the 5 ghosts to untie the barrier, and then left quickly, less than a while after Feng Yao left. Many Shangnin appeared here, including Kakashi, Asma and others. They sighed, they did not rescue the root, they wanted to prevent the impending war and protect Konoha from disappearing. There is no name, no feelings, no past, no future, only a mission in mind. The roots of the tree that supported Konoha in the dark have disappeared from today. Chapter 32 _ The end of the Chunin exam. What? The whole army has been wiped out. Danzo slapped the table and yelled when he heard the news. Root is his cronies, his capital, and in a few days it will be Konoha's war against Cheyenne. Root is the vanguard, but now. Anger was burning in Danzo's chest, and he was also thinking about who did such a bold thing. Sand Hidden, Orochimaru, or the third Hokage. Sandian was first excluded by him. If the other party knew of his actions, then more than the root cause would suffer, and he would definitely launch an attack on Konoha. The remaining 2 are suspects. Orochimaru hates Konoha, and the 3 generations do not want to start a war. I understand. The 3rd generation actually joined Orochimaru to destroy the root, this cowardly Japanese sword. Internal affairs and foreign affairs only, no compromise. Never think about change. I will never let you succeed. Konoha will not return to that weak past. Danzang gritted his teeth and said, it's no wonder he came to this idea. Orochimaru was originally a disciple of the 3rd generation, and it may be that the 3rd generation and Orochimaru reached some kind of deal. Because it is impossible for the 3 generations to do it by themselves, just as the Shangnin people, although they oppose themselves, will not directly disobey their orders. As for Feng Yao's disappearance from the beginning to the end, there is no information about the other party at all, which is for sure, because the photos are not right at all. The lack of information led Danzo to draw a wrong conclusion. He looked at his only 2 trusted confidants, Kazuo Root and Yamakaki. These were the people he usually followed him as a bodyguard, so he was not killed. HMPH, it doesn't matter, as long as the 4th generation of Kazekage is killed tomorrow, this war has to be fought, and you have no choice. As he spoke, he touched Zishui's eye. If necessary tomorrow, he would use this eye to control Orochimaru. Danzo's strength has now been severely weakened, and the village's Jonin doesn't believe him at all. He originally wanted to gain the trust of the village through this war, but now 3 generations have come out to make trouble. On the other side, Feng Yao, who destroyed the root, came to a house far away from Konoha. Here Naruto and Sasuke are being tied up with 5 flowers. Just when Feng Yao was about to walk over to help them untie it first, the 2 suddenly turned into wood. Substitute. And Sasuke, who was hiding on the eaves, launched his attack. Fire escape. The art of fireball. Sasuke released a huge fireball from his mouth, and the explosion came from the house, and the whole room was burned down. But Feng Yao stood there unscathed. I didn't expect you to break free by yourself. Calm down, don't force me to do it. Who wants to listen to you, the weird guy with the bandages? Multiple shadow clone technique. Naruto, who was hiding on the side, couldn't sit still, and he rushed out to separate thousands of clones and wanted to knock down the opponent by relying on crowd tactics. Feng Yao made a seal on his hands, and once again summoned the psychic beast, the cold heart sea lion. A large-scale water escape ninjutsu emptied Naruto's shadow clone and easily caught the two of them. You bastard, let me go, why are you arresting us, where is Sakura? Naruto struggled frantically, while Sasuke was full of unwillingness. The future 7th generation Naruto, and the future Sasuke of the Mega Ninja world, can only be easily caught by himself before he grows up. He put the two of them down, first looked at Sasuke. He was considering whether to find a way to turn against Sasuke. But this idiot was all about revenge. Even if he told him about Itachi, I'm afraid he would be eager to find Itachi to know the answer or shouted for Konoha to take revenge. As for Naruto, the mouth can't talk to the other party, and he has watched Naruto grow up, whether it is the Earth in the previous life, or the Naruto world in this life, so Feng Yao never thought of hurting Naruto. I don't have any ill will towards you. I have no choice but to arrest you. Don't mess around. I'll let you go back when things settle down. After explaining, Feng Yao tied the two with a stronger rope. Then he returned to the Konoha ninja village amid Naruto's scolding. The third session of the Chunin exam is about to begin. On the periphery of the circular field, there were daimyo and players from all over the world watching the game, and Danzo sat in the high seat in the center. The advanced players such as Feng Yao stood in the center of the field, waiting for the official start of the game. This may be just a competition for them, but for Danzo, Feng Yao, and Orochimaru, this is already a battlefield. Hey, relax, just salute the audience. Chunin, who was in charge of this exam, said to the crowd. After a while, the 4th generation Kazekage brought someone to the arena, along with 2 people from Xianju. Danzo stood up pretendingly. Welcome, Kazuki-sama, please enjoy our Konoha ninja game this time. 4 generations of Kazekage did not reply. Danzo said that except for our Konoha ninjas, there is nothing to see in other countries' games. Feng Ying also endured this kind of insult. Wait, Konoha will perish today. Feng Ying, who thought so in his heart, felt a lot more comfortable, and at the same time his eyes turned to the direction of Orochimaru. Orochimaru casually disguised as a Konoha ninja and sat on the periphery. Wait, Feng Yao, after today, your perfect body is mine. Everyone has their own plans. At this moment, only the players participating in the competition are free of distractions. They only think about one thing and win the competition. Since there are 9 people now, Feng Yao needs to play one more match in the battle that comes out, and it's all fighting against Sandian. Danzo doesn't care about any competition, he wants Konoha to win, and let the daimyo from all over the field know that Konoha is the most powerful shinobi village. Needless to say, in the match with Kankuro and Tamari, Kankuro simply gave up for the next plan, and Tamari could not be Feng Yao's opponent. With a single blow to the Thunder God, Feng Yao easily won the victory. People wiped out the entire Xian team. As the competition progressed, the atmosphere was gradually brought out, and the forces of all parties became more and more solemn. They knew that the moment the Chunin exam was over, was the time to start. Without Gaara this time, the game went smoothly to the end, which was the last one. Another thing Feng Yao didn't expect was that the person who finally competed with him turned out to be Xiao Li. He successfully defeated Neji Hyuga in the match. Feng Yao could see that Xiao Li was very happy now. The game begins. The Chunin on the side started the last game. However, Feng Yao was the first to speak. You already used Lilianwa when you just beat Neji, and your muscles have been severely strained. You can't beat me, even if you didn't use Lilianwa before. Feng Yao admired this hard-working genius very much, and was even thinking about whether there was any way to bring him under his command. However, Xiao Li smiled slightly. Behind his left hand, and his right hand made a please gesture. Your name is Tuz. I can see that you are also a genius. No matter if you can win or not, I will stand here and fight with you, because this is my ninja way. Feng Yao took a deep look at Xiao Li. Can hard work surpass genius? No, Xiao Li could easily defeat Sasuke at the beginning, but when Sasuke was already at the top of the ninja world, Xiao Li only opened 6 doors. But hard work also pays off. It may not be more than those chosen sons, but it can definitely become better. Feng Yao psychic out the slug fairy, and simply gave Xiao Li a treatment for the muscle strain. Not only for a fair fight with Xiao Li, but also to boost his favorability. Thank you, Toth, and I'll give it my all. Saying that, Xiao Li directly opened the first door to open the door, then opened the rest door to improve his physical strength, and quickly rushed towards Feng Yao. The Leaf Whirlwind. Xiao Li took a turn and kicked the upper section. This is the martial art commonly used in the Gang Kung sect. 6 styles. Iron Nuggets. Feng Yao also wanted to defeat Xiao Li head-on with physical skills, so that the other party would be convinced. Xiao Li's foot seemed to be kicked on the steel plate, but he was not discouraged, and a retreat started to spin rapidly around Feng Yao. Then rushed to Feng Yao and used the lower kick. Aiming at Feng Yao's chin and kicking Feng Yao flying, this is the starting gesture of the Watch Lotus, and then he will perform further attacks in the air. Ordinary people are naturally unable to dodge this move in the air, and can only passively be beaten. But Feng Yao was different, he stepped slightly on his feet. 6 forms. Moon Step. Feng Yao directly changed his whereabouts in the air, so that Xiao Li did not connect to the next move. Seeing that the opponent's physical skills were not weaker than his own, Xiao Li also ignited his fighting spirit even more. 8 Gates Dunjia, Shengmen. Injury. Xiao Li's body began to turn red, green arrogance visible to the naked eye covered his whole body, and his violent ability erupted on the field, setting off waves of hurricanes. Go ahead. Xiao Li made a move, it was just an ordinary step, and the ground burst, but no matter how fast his physical skills were, Feng Yao could completely analyze the opponent's movements. While using the moon step to dodge, he used an iron block to directly slam against Xiao Li. The scattered gravel and dust made the spectators unable to open their eyes. As the dust settled, Xiao Li still lost, and the audience was in an uproar. Who would have thought that the inconspicuous Yin Ren was the one who finally won the championship? After the referee announced the result, Feng Yao helped Xiao Li up. Toss, your physical skills are very strong, but look at it, one day the lotus flower of Konoha will bloom again. Looking at Xiao Li's speech, Feng Yao just nodded calmly, and he might be able to rub the big tube wood with his hands by then. It seems that everything ends with the end of the game. At this time, on the high platform, Feng Ying saw that Konoha was eliminated and said to Danzo with some mockery, "It seems that Konoha's ninja did not win the championship in the end, ha ha ha." Just as he was laughing, Danzo started. Wind escape, vacuum wave. He exhaled a sharp breath similar to Kazuma Itachi, as if to cut off Cage's body directly. Magnetic escape, gold dust. Feng Ying didn't expect Danzang to act directly, and hurriedly blocked this move. They haven't started the plan yet, but it's not important now. Since the other party has already torn his face, he doesn't need to hide it. He roared in the direction of Gaara and the others. Action. Destroy Konoha. Chapter 33-Siege Danzo. Hearing this sentence, Danzo was immediately furious. I have known for a long time that you Cheyenne harbored evil intentions. Once this incident is over, I must completely eradicate Cheyenne village. Feng Ying Luosh's eyes became colder after hearing this. The other party had already said so, this time either Konoha was destroyed or Sandian was destroyed. In the audience seat, Do had already released a large-scale illusion with the people from Cheyenne village, and most of the people in the audience were all caught up in the illusion. Gaara is preparing to enter the state of tailed beast, and outside Konoha village, there is also a huge psychic beast summoned to attack with Sandian's troops. Seeing this situation, what Danzo can do now is to kill Luo Sha as soon as possible, and his hands are sealed. Wind escape vacuum jade. Danzo fired the chakra accumulated in his mouth like a bullet. It fires like a machine gun. Luo Sha did not dare to be careless. He knew that the victory or defeat between himself and Danzo even affected the victory or defeat of this war. Respond quickly. Magnetic escape. Sand's shuriken. The sand condensed and turned into countless shuriken fighting against Danzo, and it was hard to tell the winner for a while. But two of Danzo's subordinates also joined the battlefield. They are Oil-Maid Togen and Shan Zongfang. Both of them are from the two strongest families in Konoha and will use powerful secret techniques. Secret art, poison dust art. Oil Maiden gathers poisonous insects between her hands and blows them out in one breath. As long as people accidentally inhale the poisonous dust, they will die. Shan Zongfeng on the side is looking for an opportunity to use the technique of turning the puppet of the heart. Danzo once again played Wind Escape Vacuum Jade. For a while, even the 4 generations of Fengying were a little bit overwhelmed. He shouted at the audience, "Orochimaru, are you still not helping?" Orochimaru smiled grimly under the stage, and also came to the high platform. If the 4 generations of Kazekage really died, the plan to destroy Konoha might be in vain. And he can't win Feng Yao by himself. Although he has made a lot of preparations, it is better to be safe. Orochimaru jumped onto the high platform and stood with Luo Sha to oppose Danzang. Seeing Orochimaru, Danzang's eyes became obviously gloomy. How could it be you? Danzo found that he seemed to have miscalculated something. It is indeed possible for the 3 generations to destroy the root in order to prevent himself from starting a war, but it is absolutely impossible for Orochimaru to destroy Konoha with sand. But now he couldn't bear to think so much. Orochimaru ordered the 4 Yinran to set up a 4 purple flame formation, trapping Danzo and others, and Junmalu also entered the formation together. When Tayuya was setting up the formation, he took time to glance at Feng Yao who was standing off the field. Master Feng Yao, so handsome. Danzo saw that the situation was not good, turned his head and said to the 2 subordinates. You 2 hold on to Orochimaru, I'll take care of the 4th Kazekage first. Then he untied the bandage on his arm, revealing the arm full of scribbles. Orochimaru looked at it and joked, "It turned out to be this arm, it's really a masterpiece." Danzo snorted coldly, and Shan Zongfeng and Yu Tojin next to him charged towards Orochimaru and Junmaro. Phosphorus bad bugs. The woman takes the root and spreads the nanoscale poisonous insects on the body. Once they touch their own body, they will be poisoned. The poisonous insects will flow into the opponent's cells and destroy them. Seeing that Orochimaru was being held back, Danzo also dealt with Luasha with confidence. As for Feng Yao off the field, he was staring coldly at the current battle situation, and Danzo was the one who would kill him. But Danzo's other gods must be careful. If the enemy did not take revenge, but the other party changed his will and turned him into a puppet, then he would be stupid. You can let Orochimaru and Shidai Kazekage consume Danzo's writing wheel first, and they are taking the opportunity to make a move. He used divine power to move closer to the battlefield and waited for an opportunity to make a move. Off the field, many of Konoha's upper ninjas have come to suppress the situation, but Gaara successfully transformed into a beast. No one could control Gaara for a while, and the battlefield under the high platform was also in anxiety. Sand Ninja and Orochi appear to the east of the village entrance. Draw out a few Junin to deal with this one-tailed monster. Damn it. Orochimaru actually planned Konoha with Sandian, this traitor. Everyone scolded, but unfortunately Orochimaru didn't care at all, but seriously dealt with the 2 ninjas in front of him. Evil snakes. Orochimaru first channeled a giant snake that twisted and smashed the oil girl into the sky. Then Kusanagi's sword spit out his head and rushed towards the mountain wind. He knew that the mountain family was good at mind control and should be solved first. In the face of Orochimaru's stroke that came straight at him, he didn't hesitate. This was a good opportunity. The art of turning the heart puppet seal. But when he was noticed to use the Orochimaru substitute to dodge, Junmalu took advantage of the situation to take the lead. Rush directly in front of the mountain wind. Bone vein Tsubaki dance. Shan Zongfeng separated the heads on the spot, facing the two shadow-level combat power. Shan Zongfeng could not resist at all. Seeing the death of her companions when she fell from the air, she felt a sense of sadness in the death of a rabbit. Now he is only a matter of losing sooner or later, but he still charged towards Orochimaru and Junmalu. And the battle between Danzang and Luo Sha is still going on. The right arm has also been transplanted with intercolumnar cells, and even the body technique is not bad. The power of Feng Dun can even cut Susa. It can be said that he is an all-round player with both strength and plug-in. But maybe he really didn't do it very often. His fighting skills were really worrying, and he was somewhat suppressed by Luo Sha for a while. Luo Sha saw the opportunity and directly used the magnetic escape. Gold Dust Burial. This trick can be said to be the predecessor of the Sandstorm Burial. It is denser and heavier than the Sandstorm Burial. The huge amount of sand directly drowns the Danzo. As his hands trembled again, the terrifying pressure pressed Danzo into a puddle of flesh. Luo Sha already thought that he had won, so he couldn't blame him. After all, he didn't know about Izanagi's external eye trick. After using Izanagi to rewrite the reality of his being killed, Danzo appeared directly in front of Luosha again, with a seal on his hands. Wind Escape Vacuum Jade. Danzo took a big breath before compressing it and firing it out. This move was more like an air rocket launcher. It could knock the entire body of the target into the air. The power was quite amazing. Although Luo Sha didn't know how the other party was resurrected, he also used the golden sand to wrap himself in time to block the fatal blow. Danzo chased after the victory, took out the shuriken, and injected the wind attribute chakra into it. Wind Escape, Shuriken. The increased sharpness of the shuriken can easily cut through rocks and break through the sand of Luosha. But just when Danzo had a chance to kill the fourth Kazekage, a voice came. Psychic Giant Snake. A huge black python blocked the two of them. After the shuriken cut it open, it was not strong enough, and finally failed to break through Luo Sha's defense. Danzo looked attentively, and the oil girl's root removal had been solved, and Junmaru had pierced her body with a bone. Orochimaru walked over slowly and looked at Danzo playfully, but he was also curious, why Fengyao hadn't done it yet. Wasn't his purpose Danzo? But soon he knew. Danzo slowly opened his right eye. He now has no choice but to control Orochimaru to destroy Kazekage first and settle this Konoha destruction plan. In this way, as the hero who saved Konoha, he can continue to serve as Hokage, and even gain the trust of the villagers. Thinking of this, he revealed his right eye, but it was Shishui's eye. He launched the strongest illusion on Orochimaru. Don't God. Orochimaru's will has been changed by Danzo without being noticed, and Luo Sha obviously still doesn't know what happened. Danzo laughed coldly and attacked Luo Sha again. Wind Escape Vacuum Continuous Wave. The mouth released several breaths like a scythe. This move not only cut off the opponent's body, but also cut off the opponent's chakra. Luo Sha was about to resist. Orochimaru suddenly attacked, which Luo Sha did not expect. Evil Serpent Wrist Burst. Several giant snakes devoured each other and swallowed them together with sand. After Danzo's vacuum repeatedly hit the snake's body, Orochimaru mobilized chakra to detonate the snake again. Junmalu and others on the side were stunned by this scene. They didn't know why Orochimaru suddenly attacked Luo Sha. This was not part of their plan. After the explosion, Luo Sha's figure was exposed. Cough, cough, Orochimaru, you. After all, Luo Sha was seriously injured. His left arm was cut off by Chigen, one of his eyes was blown up, and there were wounds of different sizes on his body. The sandy ninja outside was also anxious, not knowing what happened. Haha, this eye really didn't disappoint me. I'm the only one who can change this ninja world. Just when Danzo felt that he turned defeat into victory and was happy, the space behind him began to distort, and a figure appeared behind him and put his hand on his shoulder. A cold voice sounded. You are wrong, Danzo. You are not the one who can change this ninja world, because today you will die here. Chapter 34 One-on-one Group Possession. Danzo tried to turn his head when he heard the sound, but Feng Yao moved faster. Flying Thunder God Slash. Feng Yao's body turned into a phantom, directly passing through Danzang's body, and blood spurted out of Danzang's mouth. Master Feng Yao has taken action. Has it been successful? Taiyu is undoubtedly the person who pays the most attention to Feng Yao besides Orochimaru. But this attack was not successful, and Danzo launched a Zanagi again, rewriting the reality. Danzo, who was resurrected with full blood again, seemed to be uninjured. A few people next to him were shocked again by Danzo's ninjutsu, but the continuous illusion he just performed on Orochimaru, Batenjin, stopped. Orochimaru came to his senses. He took 2 steps back to support his forehead with his hands, and Junmalu next to him hurriedly stepped forward to support him. Okay, what a terrible illusion. There is only one illusion in this world that can do this kind of thing. There was fear in Orochimaru's eyes. He was not afraid of death, but he was afraid that he would never be able to learn all the ninjutsu in the world and explore the truth of this world in the future. Fortunately, the surgery was lifted, but now he wanted another thing besides Feng Yao's body, Zishui's eyes. That can only display the eyes of other gods. With that eye, my future path will be no obstacle. Thinking of this, Orochimaru couldn't help trembling with excitement. Luo Sha on the side was the worst at the moment. Everyone here has their own goals, but he was the only one who was overshadowed in the end. Moreover, his combat power is now greatly damaged, and he can no longer form an effective threat to others. His use value for Orochimaru has been greatly reduced. But he obviously didn't realize it. Maru, what the hell is going on with you guy? Hearing Luo Sha's questioning, Orochimaru slowly turned his head away, and he didn't feel any guilt when he saw that Feng Ying had just been hit hard by him. Hehe, it's just controlled by illusion. It's all right now. Thank you so much, Yaojun. Hearing Orochimaru's thanks, Feng Yao didn't intend to pay attention to it. He keenly felt Orochimaru's malice towards him. After seeing that today, not only did he need to kill Danzo, he also needed to guard against Orochimaru. Orochimaru, ahem, then you don't help kill Hokage first. For Luo Sha, getting rid of the 5th Hokage is better than killing Feng Yao, but Orochimaru doesn't think so, he casually said. Don't worry, Kazekage-sama let the 2 of them fight first. Orochimaru obviously wanted to lose both sides, and his fisherman would benefit. He wanted Danzo to force out the immortal mode of Feng Yao. He has played against Feng Yao, and also knows that the weakness of the immortal mode is the short duration. But unfortunately, the information error made him also make the wrong decision. Now Feng Yao is using time and space ninjutsu. Danzo looked at the person wearing bandages in front of him with some doubts. He saw that the forehead guard on his head should be the person from Orochimaru, but the other party's killing intent toward him seemed to be stronger than that of everyone here combined. He snorted coldly. Tianqian was now broken, and he was at a disadvantage again but was a little flustered in his heart. I didn't expect Orochimaru to have people like you. How do you see other gods? It's not surprising to see that Danzo didn't recognize his Feng Yao. Strictly speaking, it was the first time the two met. Hehe, I'm not from Orochimaru. As for why you see other gods, you should go to hell with this question. Feng Yao sneered and untied the bandage on his face. Danzang was really shocked when he saw Feng Yao's face. But he was also more convinced that he and the other party had never met, and if he had met such a person once, he would never have forgotten it. Who the hell are you? I'm the person you've been wanting to arrest and bring to justice all this time, and destroy the root organization you built with your own hands. Danzo, do you still remember Feng Po and Feng Miao? Speaking of which, if Danzo doesn't know who Feng Yao is, then he doesn't deserve to be a dark careerist in the Naruto world. He also realizes that he has been wrong from the beginning, and the 3rd generation is working with Feng Yao to destroy the root organization. You are Feng Yao. I didn't expect you to be a traitor of Konoha. HMPH, for his own ambition of revenge, the war has been burned to Konoha. I really don't know how your parents gave birth to a kid like you. They have no idea about the village. It's really worthless. Danzo's stepping on the thunder again angered Feng Yao. Sure enough, listening to your nonsense will only increase my anger. Feng Yao didn't intend to talk to Danzo, bit his finger, and directly summoned his strongest combat power. Spirituality. The 5 ghosts of the underworld. 5 giant ghosts from the underworld came to this world once again. Although Danzo called Feng Yao brat, he didn't dare to be careless. Feng Yao's record was obvious to all. At the moment, Danzo still has 8 eyes that are not used, which is 480 seconds of invincibility. The realm of the underworld. Feng Yao took the lead in launching an attack to open the field and spread to the barrier. After the realm was opened, the 5 ghosts seemed to be even more irritable, and the ghosts rushed up first, and the huge axe smashed it like a group with a sharp gas explosion. In the face of Feng Yao's first attack, Danzo did not rush to use Izanagi, but wanted to kill one of Feng Yao's psychic beasts first. Wooden. Blasting gun tree. This is the wooden escape that Danzo transplanted column cells can use. This technique integrates attack and defense, instantly resisting other people's attacks and swallowing them. A huge tree grew from his right arm, blocked the axe, and devoured it towards the Shah. However, Danzo did not kill the ghost as he wished. Feng Yao made the ghost send out a mental attack. The harsh scream made Danzo stop his wooden ninjutsu, and the ghost took the opportunity to stab Danzo with a shot. A pair of where? Izanagi can only activate this time. The moment of invincibility came, and Danzo didn't care about the damage at this time. He attached Feng Dun to Kuwu and rushed over to fight Feng Yao. But how could Feng Yao, who knows Danzo Izanagi's time well, fight against it? Any ninjutsu attack thrown in Izanagi's 60 seconds is a waste of his chakra. So using the moon step to directly open the Qinhuang around the column mode, Danzang can only stare blankly. When Izanagi's time is up, Feng Yao once again let the ghouls and the ghosts attack together. Orochimaru next to him frowned a little at the scene in front of him. He didn't expect Danzo to be so bad. Although this resurrection ninjutsu is strong, it is afraid that it will not be able to consume the immortal mode of Feng Yao. Danzo panted slightly. The other party's psychic beast was strange and unpredictable, and now only 3 of them were dispatched. It was a little difficult for him to resist. It seems that we have to deal with the 2 first. Thinking like this, Danzo bit his finger and summoned his own psychic beast. Spiritual art. Dream Eater Taper. A strange creature with an elephant trunk, rhino eye, ox tail, and tiger feet landed on the high platform. It roared and opened its big mouth, using the wind escape as if to blow over and swallow the objects in front of it. The powerful suction made Feng Yao also need to use his feet to maintain his figure, while Danzo jumped behind Wugui with a leap. Wind escape, vacuum continuous waves. In this wave, he cleverly used the wind to enhance his attack, but it was not aimed at the ghost's body, but cut off the feet of the ghost and the ghost, causing the 2 ghosts to be directly swallowed by the dream-eating beast Taper, and they will be able to use after the spirit-attacking demon was killed. Danzo felt a lot more relieved. You're too close to me, Danzo. Taking advantage of his carelessness, Feng Yao rushed to him, grabbed Danzo's neck, and let the ghost's tentacles take the opportunity to wrap around him. Danzo felt that his chakra was rapidly draining for a while. He didn't dare to hesitate, and immediately made the seal. Wind escape, vacuum wave. Cut off the tentacles of the ghost, and Feng Yao directly used the blur to avoid his Feng Dun. Danzo stepped back in a hurry, and in just a short while, his chakra volume had lost half of it. At this time, Danzo's chakra volume had already made him unable to use Izanagi without any scruples. And Feng Yao supplemented the chakra spent just using the psychic beast through the ghost. Looking at the scene in front of him, Luo Sha applauded frantically in his heart, and he also threw away the agreement with Orochimaru. Danzo saw that the situation was not good for him, and let the dream-eating beast Taper rush up to use Feng Dun to buy him time. On the other hand, he himself used Feng Dun and vacuum waves again, but this time the attack was not Feng Yao, but the domain and enchantment that trapped him. Danzo didn't want to fight anymore, he knew he would die here if he continued. Reason made him fear death, which turned into cowardice. While Danzo attacked the barrier, he screamed wildly in his heart. I have to live for Konoha, I am the only person in this world who can change the world of ninjas. But Feng Yao went directly to Fei Lei Shen and came to him, and he had already left the Fei Lei Shen technique when he just pinched Danzo. Kunwu rises from bottom to top, piercing Danzo's body and heart. Chapter 35-Requiem for the Three Good Ways. Poof! Danzo's body trembled, his eyes widened, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. You can't kill me. Danzang's face was as pale as the paper, and he launched Izanagi again, but this time his face resurrected with a touch of despair. His chakra consumption is too high, and he is already a little dizzy and heavy at this time, and he can only use it once at most. I was also saddened in my heart. Am I really going to die here today? No. I am Hokage, how can I die? He immediately formed the seal, and when he was just caught by Feng Yao, he didn't do anything. Seal of the Curse of Self-Employment. When he was attacked, he also planted a mark on Feng Yao, and the strange black long-striped road slowly climbed Feng Yao's body, restricting his movements. Naturally, Danzo would not miss such a great opportunity. He immediately took out the shuriken dart and threw it with the wind. Wind escape, shuriken. With a blade sharp enough to cut through rocks, the shuriken came straight to Feng Yao, just as it was about to hit. The last resentful ghost teleported in front of Feng Yao, blocking the fatal blow. The resentful ghost could teleport to his side when the master was attacked. Danzo's mood fell to the bottom of the valley again when he saw the failure of the attack, and he watched Feng Yao slowly push back the sealing curse on his body. He roared madly. You traitors of Konoha, you don't know what you are doing at all, you just want to clear everything with revenge, and driven by emotions, you are not worthy of being ninjas at all. Feng Yao sneered when he heard Danzo's evaluation of himself. He stared at Danzo and said slowly, What about you, Danzo? You often talk about the self-sacrifice of ninjas, but when it's your turn, you are timid. You have already been proved by the second generation that you are not qualified to be a Hokage. Because your actions will never be worthy of your ideals, and this is your original sin. Quote. When Danzo heard the words, his breathing couldn't help but become disordered. He didn't know how the other party knew about this kind of thing that was sealed in history. Even Orochimaru and others couldn't help but prick up their ears when they heard this. They didn't know this kind of secret. Danzo gritted his teeth, frowned tightly, and stared deeply at everyone in front of him. He knew that he was going to die today, and Feng Yao's words just hit his sore spot. This reminded Danzo of what the second Hokage had said to himself. The majestic voice seemed to ring in his ears. The time will come for you to give yourselves, save your life until then. Feng Yao's words instead inspired Danzo's heart to die in battle. Instead of thinking about running away, he decided to die with Feng Yao and others. Danzo ripped open his clothes, revealing the 4 seals on his body. But Feng Yao is familiar with all of Danzo's ninjutsu. Danzo's movements can't be faster than Fei Lei Shen. He wants to stop Danzo. The figure flashed and stabbed kunai into Danzo's heart, but Danzo used Izanagi for the last time, and Danzo was invincible for 60 seconds. He laughed and resurrected aside. At this moment he put his own life and death aside. For Konoha, you must never be allowed to live. Danzo feels that his death is worthwhile at this moment, and he will take away 3 powerful enemies of Konoha. But he didn't know that this sealing technique couldn't kill Feng Yao at all, and Feng Yao was only a pity that he couldn't hide with his hands. Whether it is Bokeh or Flying Thunder God, he can easily escape Danzo's sealing technique, but it is a pity that Zishui's eyes. Just when everyone was preparing to save their lives, a melodious flute sounded, turning into 3 long black dragons, tying Danzang, and the sealing technique of his suicide stopped. Danzo looked at the scene in front of him in disbelief, and turned his head to see that the person playing the flute was just an unremarkable little girl. Requiem for the Three Good Ways. This song has a powerful single-person control effect, which can imprison the opponent's actions and make the current technique useless. This is the family secret technique that Duo Yuya has been practicing hard these days. Master Feng Yao, as you promised, I will help you realize your wishes. Duo Yu also watched Feng Yao silently and said in her heart that blood had overflowed from her mouth, which shows that this ninjutsu is not easy to use. Seeing this scene, Feng Yao certainly wouldn't miss this great opportunity. Fei Lei Shen teleported directly to Danzo. Poof! Kunai pierced Danzo's heart firmly, and he couldn't use Izanagi again this time. He gradually lost consciousness at the beginning, his body became extremely heavy, and finally, like a useless old man, he slowly collapsed to the ground. At the last moment, there was a faint murmur in his mouth. This time, it's me, in front of you. Root, of Konoha village, the country of fire, Konoha's fifth agent Hokage, and the anti-heroic figure group who dedicated his life to Konoha's prosperity died today. Not far from the third generation eyes, the eyes are cloudy, and there seem to be tears. Tuanzang ah. Hokage-sama was killed. What should I do now? Think of a way to stabilize the situation first. Go and invite the third generation Hokage-sama. The Konoha ninja watching the battle below is also in a mess at the moment. Feng Ying was very happy to see this scene. His mood was ups and downs from the beginning. He was attacked, abandoned by Orochimaru, and was almost killed by Danzang. Fortunately, Danzang died. He stood up and said with difficulty to the ninja below, "The fifth Hokage is dead, are you still not surrendering? You Konoha have already lost this war." Sandren felt very encouraged when he heard it, and everyone in Konoha felt dark before hearing it. On the high platform, Duo Yu also shot, and the enchantment was lost without one person. Feng Yao also completed what he was going to do. He was about to take away Danzang's right arm and Sharingan. Tuo Plei Lu Jia. A giant snake rushed towards him. Feng Yao directly pulled up Danzo's body and used the Flying Thunder God to hide aside. The giant snake fell into the air and slammed into the ground, stirring up dust in the sky. Feng Yao knew for a long time that Orochimaru had no good intentions towards him, so he must be fully prepared to take action at this moment. He sighed lightly, and quickly folded Danzo's arm and Shisui's eyes in his hands. Orochimaru, can't I bear it? Do you think you can beat my fairy mode? Feng Yao opened his mouth and used words to deter him. In fact, his chakra didn't lose too much in the battle with Danzo just now, and it must be more than enough to deal with Orochimaru. But at this moment, Junmalu and the other four are there, and Orochimaru should still have the first and second generation's reincarnation unused, and the fourth generation Kage's position is unknown. This situation is not very good for me, but Feng Yao, who is in the hands of Bokeh, Shinwei, and Fei Lei Shen, is very rare in the entire ninja world to keep him. Even if you can't beat yourself and retreat, it's more than enough. Orochimaru frowned when he heard it. Feng Yao's immortal mode is too terrifying, not only has terrifying speed and power, but also rare in the world of immortal magic. But just after watching Feng Yao fight for a long time, he also had a bold guess. Obviously, the battle can be solved as soon as possible in immortal mode, but Feng Yao has been using psychic beasts and flying thunder gods to fight. He felt that Feng Yao didn't want to use it, but couldn't use it. The various ninjutsu used by Feng Yao at this time were very different from when he fought with him at the beginning, which made Orochimaru even more curious about the secrets of Feng Yao's body. Yaojun, I really wasn't your opponent in the first battle. Why don't you show me your immortal mode again today? Spirituality, reincarnation of dirty earth. Orochimaru bit his finger and slapped it on the ground, and two thick brown coffins were channeled out from the ground, with the first and second written on them respectively. Seeing this, Feng Yao understands that the people inside are Konoha's first Hokage and second Hokage. Feng Yao also thought about using the technique of reincarnation from dirty soil, but at that time he was in the wet bone forest, and the attachments really didn't have any useful bones. Otherwise, the person reincarnated from the dirty earth will be stronger than Orochimaru, because Orochimaru has not fully grasped the reincarnation of the dirty earth at this moment. And the third coffin slowly emerged. This coffin almost came out, but it was stopped by 3 generations, and there was no lettering on it. The animation version was engraved, but the manga did not. Feng Yao felt that there shouldn't be a water gate inside, and the inside of the coffin was obviously full of ninjas who had been reincarnated in the dirt. For example, the first and second generations were channeled into the coffin after the completion of the dirty soil, and the 4th generation was sealed at the moment, and it was impossible to be successfully reincarnated into the coffin by the dirty soil. And it was to deal with the 3rd generation Hokage at that time, and it should be someone familiar with the 3rd generation Hokage. For example, the 1st and 2nd generations were teachers of the 3rd generation, so this should also be a person familiar with the 3rd generation. As the coffin board slowly opened, the 1st generation and the 2nd generation, naturally needless to say, it was the 2 of them. And the 3rd one made Feng Yao look a little unfamiliar at first glance. But the 3 Guyu in the eyes can make people sure that this is a member of the Uchiha family. This gave Feng Yao a wake-up call. He knew who the last person Orochimaru was reincarnated in was. Author's digression. Ahem. Who is the 3rd coffin of Orochimaru? Naruto fans have been arguing. The animation version and the manga are different. I don't think everyone wants to watch the same as the plot. The content. Feng Yao stopped the 3rd coffin or something, so this is also a conjecture of the author. If everyone thinks it's wrong, just spray it. Chapter 36 _ The 3rd coffin. A member of the 2nd generation Hokage elite guard force. With a strong will to fire, he has dedicated his life to Konoha, and he is also one of the few Uchiha clansmen who can gain the trust of the 2nd generation Hokage. Uchiha Mirror. Mirror appeared in Hokage very rarely, and Feng Yao didn't recognize him for a while. The 2 Hokage and Uchiha Jing were not completely deprived of consciousness at this time. They looked around, and when they saw Danzo's body, the pupils of the 2nd generation shrank unconsciously. Has Danzo been killed? It's just such a young man who summoned us. The people these days are really amazing, so is the opponent this good-looking boy. In this case, we will have to fight against him. Which family are you from, Konoha? The 1st Hokage-sama and the 2nd generation Hokage-sama didn't expect this to be the case when meeting with you. It seems that Konoha is very bad. The 3 of them came out to look at the corpses on the ground and the attacking Cheyenne village, and they felt a little sad. As the dead, they were summoned to the world to help outsiders destroy their own village. It's actually the Hokage and Uchiha realm of the past dynasties. Luo Sha, who was on the side, was naturally horrified to see these people, especially the 2 Hokage, who were recognized in history as the god of ninjas, Yuma, and the master of ninjutsu, Fama. Orochimaru was very satisfied with the surprised eyes of Luo Sha and the others. But Feng Yao was obviously calm, because he already knew who was inside, and this calm look made Orochimaru feel insulted. HMPH, let me begin. Enjoy yourself, Yao-kun. After he finished speaking, he inserted the 3 kunai tied with a spell into the back of the 3 people's heads. The dust on the 3 people began to disappear, and they became more like living people, and erased their consciousness. Now the 3 people are tool people who only know how to kill. No, Lord Orochimaru. Cough cough. Duo Yu, who was on the side, also saw this. Mu Shang stepped forward to stop him, but after 2 steps, he fell to the ground and coughed up blood. Feng Yao wanted to say something to stop her after seeing it, but if Orochimaru heard it, he would probably take her as a hostage and threaten him, so he still concentrated on dealing with the few people in front of him. In the 1st generation, the hands were folded together, and there was not even a knot. Drink _ Wooden, Tree World's birth. The ninjutsu launched with chakra as the source of life. Many trees quickly grew on the ground, the trees were like uprooted, and a forest was created in an instant, and under the guidance of the pillars, the trees moved towards Feng Yao. Swallow the past. Feng Yao sighed in his heart. Sure enough, the wooden escape of the 1st Hokage is the strongest. I'm afraid it's less than half of the opponents. Then he bit his finger and channeled out of Rashomon to resist. Spirituality. Triple Rashomon. 3 gates with a height of several hundred meters rose from the ground and collided with the wooden dug between the pillars. The first gate had a tendency to collapse in an instant, and it was not until the second gate that it was barely supported. At this time, the next door Uchiha mirror started. He is a member of the Uchiha family and is naturally good at fire escape. Mirror quickly formed a seal with her hands, took a deep breath, her stomach swelled slightly, and then spewed out a mouthful. Fire escape. Dragon flame singing technique. 4 fire dragons protruding from the mirror mouth attacked from the top, bottom, left, right, and 4 directions. The power and temperature cannot be ignored. The cooperation of the wooden dug increased its power, and the remaining 2 doors also collapsed in turn. Billowing, the smoky ninja couldn't open his eyes and coughed continuously. But as far as the eye can see, Feng Yao is not seen. When Orochimaru frowned and was about to look for it, Feng Yao used the blur to get out from under his feet, and just used the Rasho gate to cover Orochimaru. Sight. Lord Orochimaru, be careful behind you. Junmalu found out at the first time, and pulled out his spine to attack himself, but Feng Yao didn't want to give him this chance, so he directly held Orochimaru's shoulder. The power vortex in the right eye appears, and the power in the right eye is biased towards defensive movement and short-range attacks. It can absorb itself and foreign objects into the different space, and passive is the virtual ability that can transfer the body to the different space to avoid all damage. The surrounding scenery and Orochimaru's body began to twist, and Feng Yao wanted to suck Orochimaru into the Shinwei space. Damn, is this a time-space type of ninjutsu? Attack him quickly. At this time, Orochimaru's body was already within the suction range of the technique, and he couldn't escape even if he wanted to, but Junmalu was still dozens of steps away from him. The second generation shot, and his speed was 1 step faster than Junmalu. C. Water escape, water breaking waves. The second generation spit out a violent jet of ultra-high pressure water in a straight line. It turned into a sharp water knife blade and went straight to Feng Yao. If he insisted on absorbing Orochimaru, he might be directly cut in half by the second Hokage. Unlike ordinary water escape techniques, Tobirama used this technique to cut off the roots of the sacred tree one after another in the original book. Can only be forced to stop the absorption, turned on the blur to avoid the blow. The ground and the boulders behind were cut into a smooth horizontal line by the water column. Orochimaru also took the opportunity to distance himself from Feng Yao. He thought he was careful enough, but he almost got Feng Yao. Feng Yao looked at Orochimaru, who was far away from him, and Junmalu, Ladai Hokage, and others next to him. He knew that the best chance to defeat Orochimaru had just been missed. Be careful. He should be able to use ninjutsu to turn himself into nothingness to evade ninjutsu attacks, but when he used the time-space pupil technique just now, he was in a physical state. Otherwise I just died. It seems that your eyes also hold many secrets, Yao-kun. Orochimaru said fearfully about what he had just discovered. Ninja battle information is also very important. Seeing that Orochimaru has thoroughly analyzed his abilities, Feng Yao does not want to continue to waste with him, and his chakra is not from the wind. The camera turned to the ground. Sand Ninja and Konoha Ninja each had one side, but Sand Ninja's morale greatly increased due to Hokage's death, and he suppressed Konoha faintly. Wind escape. Practice empty bombs. Shuhei spit out a huge chakra wind ball in the air and attacked Konoha's ninjas. When the ninjas were about to spread out, a thin figure stood in front of them, as if the body would be broken when the wind blows. Soil escape. Earth flow wall. The terrifying gas bomb hit the wall. Although the wall was destroyed, it also kept people from being injured. When everyone saw the face of the person coming, they were all overjoyed. The third Hokage-sama, you are finally here to preside over the overall situation. Great, with the third Hokage, we will definitely win. Please lead us next time. The 3 generations waved their hands to signal them not to quarrel, and at the same time issued the next combat mission. The most important thing at present is to drive out invaders like Sand Ninja and Rebel Ninja like Fengyao Orochimaru from Konoha village. Use the barrier to block the movements of Ichi, Kakashi, Kai, and I will control Ichi. After the 3 generations use the psychic technique to summon the 8th demon. King Kong Wall. The 8th demon turned into a golden cudgel and trapped Shuhei, but Shuhei was indeed fierce. His claws kept attacking the cage, and the golden cudgel trembled slightly. Wind escape. Sand shot. The sand bomb attack is enhanced by the wind, powerful enough to penetrate the opponent's flesh and control it. Kakashi directly summoned multiple earth flow walls to block the opponent's moves. Boom. One-Tail's attack came back in vain. At this time, the 4 purple flame formation arranged by the Konoha ninja would also be good, and the 3 of them subdued One-Tail. When the 3 generations were fighting, they silently glanced at the high platform and waited for me to rest assured. His heart, it's all up to you, I must defeat Orochimaru. Just after a confrontation, Orochimaru knew that the ninjutsu that Fengyao could absorb others should belong to Tongjutsu. So the 2nd generation used the illusion created that year. The Art of Darkness. This illusion can deprive others of their vision. It was an illusion created in the past to target the Uchiha family's Sharingan. Seeing Fengyao's dazed look, Orochimaru knew that he had succeeded, so he immediately let Jun Malu and others attack. He did not believe that Fengyao could continue to be vacuous. Indeed, the blur time is only 5 minutes. Wooden. The world is coming. Water escape. Water dragon bomb. Fire escape. How fireball. Bone vein. The dance of the eightfold humulus. But it was Fengyao who was clearly attacked, but Orochimaru gave birth to a sense of crisis. Although Fengyao's eyes were blank, his eyes were directed at him. Out of an instinctive reaction, he used the Orochimaru substitute technique. He opened his mouth wide, opened his mouth with both hands, and then his body, with wet mucus, the lower body snake tail escaped from this body. At the next moment, the space where Orochimaru had just been distorted. Click _. The entire avatar was twisted and sucked into the different space. Fengyao's mental power has long been unknown. Especially after the physique is changed, he can be immune to most illusions. Of course, he is not sure about Fengyao, the strongest illusion of Tiantian. So he just pretended to be in an illusion, trying to trick Orochimaru to relax his vigilance. Then use the long-range strike of the left eye power to directly destroy Orochimaru, but it was still detected. The power of the left eye can directly distort the space where the eye sees, turn into a different space, and is extremely aggressive. Kakashi can also do this, but Kakashi has not fully grasped it now. Kamui failed, and Fengyao used Fei Lei Shen to escape to a safe place. Shouted directly, as one of the 3 ninjas, your lord will not believe your words. If you don't come out, I will attack Konoha together with Cheyenne. Just after speaking, a huge white smoke exploded in the center. A large orange toad squatted on the ground. Meow Mushin Toad Elf Shansu Taoist, Jilai is here too. Long time no see, Orochimaru. Chapter 37-Jiraiya. A tall man wearing a forehead guard with the word, oil, written on it. The man with long white hair up to the waist appeared between Fengyao and Orochimaru. There are red marks under his eyes, and he is wearing a red jacket with brown clothes inside, clogs on his feet, and armor-like equipment on his hands. It is Jiraiya who is also one of the 3 ninjas with Orochimaru. The people of Konoha saw Jiraiya's morale soaring. Together with Lord Jiraiya, who is one of the 3 ninjas, this time Sa-Yin is sure to lose. But the people on the high platform were surprisingly quiet. Because when Jiraiya appeared, he also put on a self-confessed handsome pose, including the toad under him, looking at the person next to him and not giving face to Jiraiya. He could only put away his posture angrily. Luo Sha frowned even more when she saw Jiraiya, and silently stood on Orochimaru's side. Orochimaru widened his golden pupils. I haven't seen you for so long, you are still so frivolous, Jiraiya. Hearing the words of his former friend, Zilai also became serious, and he looked at Orochimaru with a serious expression. He was originally entrusted by the 3 generations of Hokage to Konoha to prevent the war, but when he arrived, he learned that there was a kid named Feng Yao who wanted to take revenge on Danzo to destroy Konoha. So he asked Kakashi to negotiate with the other party. Originally, according to his own ideas, he wanted to take Feng Yao directly, but after watching the battle between the two, he found that he was not fully sure. He could only use the second plan negotiated in advance to let him assassinate Danzo to stop this war. But I didn't expect such a big change in the final situation. Sandian attacked, Orochimaru appeared, and the first and second generations were resurrected. But what surprised him even more was that the Feng Yao boy was still able to fight against these people without falling behind. When I traded with him, I said that I would provide him with some help. And it's true that Orochimaru can't be so foolish, so he must stay this time. Orochimaru, stop what you are doing now, or I will really kill you. Hearing Jiraiya's words, Orochimaru laughed angrily. We have nearly 6 shadow-level combat power here, and you have any ability to kill me. How can you beat me since you were a child? Yes, in addition to himself, Orochimaru, Junmaru, Luasha, the first generation, the second generation, and Uchiha Mirror are all first-class powerhouses. Come in, you will only be killed in seconds. Humph. Jiraiya bit his fingers, smeared a red semicircle under his eyes, and put his hands together. Enter the fairy mode. Feng Yao kid, help me buy some time, I want to summon 2 immortals to come and help. Zilai also said to Feng Yao next to him. Feng Yao yelled in his heart that he was also an idiot. Were you all watching the fight just now? Why not summon the 2 immortals in advance? Jiraiya's fighting method is too decent. I don't want to. Hey, underscore. Hearing Feng Yao's icy answer, Zilai also widened his eyes. He twitched the corners of his eyes and roared back. Hey, I came out to save you, you kid doesn't even want to support me. Support? How do you call it? My chakra has been consumed by more than half, and my ninjutsu is more than defensive and insufficient in attack. My goal has been achieved, and there is no need to fight with Orochimaru. Originally, if Jiraiya also turned on the fairy mode, it came out that Feng Yao didn't mind cooperating with him to take Orochimaru's life here, but in this situation, he had to go all out. Sorry for the wrong person. When he was about to say something, Orochimaru no longer gave them a chance. He directly greeted his subordinates to attack the 2 of them. He didn't want Feng Yao to run away. You guys go catch Feng Yao, and I'll deal with Jiraiya. The crowd was divided into 2 groups. Orochimaru and Jiraiya also knew each other well and would not suffer in a fight, so they used most of their combat power on Feng Yao. The second generation's instant body technique is obviously much faster than others, and he came to Feng Yao's side immediately. Senju Tobirama is known as the #1 speed ninja in the ninja world. This title is by no means a vain name. In battle he often wins with speed. Standing behind Feng Yao, the second generation Hokage's mouth moved slightly. Water Escape Heaven Cry. This is the attack-type water ninjutsu developed by the second generation of Hokage, and it is an unexpected water needle when attacking. The high-speed jet of water from the mouth will hit the enemy's vitals. This is Tobirama's art, which is good at water escape, and does not require a knot seal when activated. So powerful that Madara needs to use Susanoo's arm for defense. But the blurring does not mean that it can be cracked quickly, and the second generation attack will naturally return without success. But with so many people here, Feng Yao wouldn't be stupid enough to waste time with them. What he didn't like the most was fighting battles with a low chance of winning. After using the blur, use the Flying Thunder God to leave the battlefield before the rest of the people arrive. All the rest were blown away. In this scene, even Orochimaru and Jiraiya were stunned. Orochimaru didn't expect the other party to retreat so simply without any nostalgia. Jiraiya felt that Feng Yao, who dared to come to Konoha to take revenge at the enemy of Hokage, would not may escape easily. Orochimaru's face was ugly, his calculations failed, and it would be even harder to find opportunities in the future. Go and help me and completely destroy Konoha village. His golden pupils were accumulating more and more anger. After the others heard it, they immediately joined the battlefield below. With the help of so many shadow-level powerhouses, Konoha once again fell into a disadvantage. And Zilai also saw that nature was also furious. He could only channel out Tojien to buy time for him, and Orochimaru launched a fierce attack like him. Neji has been resting on the sidelines since the loss to Xiaoli. He saw that Xiaoli changed his destiny through his own power, thought of his own destiny as a branch family, and also thought of what Feng Yao had said. But suddenly there was a commotion outside, and when I looked outside, it was already a cruel battlefield, and Sand Ninja and Konoha were fighting together. As a member of Konoha, he must also join, but soon Kai told them that there was also an invasion of Sand Ninja outside the village, and asked him to come to the rescue, and Shang Nin was in charge here. Neji could only fight against these Sand Ninjas, and he also experienced the cruelty of war for the first time. He defeated the 6 intruding Sand Ninjas with Huishin and Dianping, and his chakra was almost exhausted, and he slumped on the ground exhausted. At this moment, Sharen, who was secretly hiding in the pile of corpses, took advantage of Neji's slack, took out his kunai and stabbed him in the heart. Bai Yan also discovered the hiding guy for the first time, and Neji spent the last bit of strength to change his position. Kuwu stabbed him in the chest and missed the key point, so Neji firmly held the opponent's hand, preventing him from making any further progress. Now it's the battle of staying power, whether the Konoha reinforcements arrive first, or Sharon first stabs Kuwu into Neji's body. But it wasn't. Feng Yao came to Neji by relying on the Flying Thunder God technique he planted when he was fighting against Neji at that time, and happened to bump into this scene. Ningji is someone he wants to take as his subordinate, so how could he die at the hands of a little bastard like you? Thinking like this, he kicked the person flying when he went up, making up for the other person's life. Ningqi breathed a sigh of relief this time, and tilted her head to look like Feng Yao. Although Feng Yao was not wearing a bandage now, the breath still made Ningqi recognize it for the first time. Cough, thank you, you saved me. Neji said intermittently. He must have hurt his heart and lungs. Feng Yao bit his finger and channeled the slug out, and placed it on Ningqi's chest. A green light flickered on Ningqi's chest, and the blood from the wound stopped shortly after. Feng Yao helped Ningji wipe off the blood spots that had coagulated from the blood on his face. Don't thank me, I'm here to take you away. My real name is actually Feng Yao. I believe you've heard of it. Neji, I can help you change your destiny. Are you willing to follow me? Feng Yao revealed his purpose, and Neji heard his eyes drop. He was moved. He originally thought that people's fate was doomed, but he saw that Xiaoli really changed his fate at the end of the crane with his hard work. Maybe it's really possible to follow the man in front of him. Seeing that Neji hesitated, Feng Yao added some fire to it. He said in a persuasive manner, a few months ago, I was just a crane tail who couldn't even know E-rank ninjutsu, but now I have the strength to defeat the shadow rank ninja. I have changed my destiny, and so do you. Yes. Hearing this, Neji showed a firm look on his face and made a decisive decision. I am willing to follow you. I want to change my destiny. I am not reconciled to the fate of separation. The corner of Feng Yao's mouth raised. He inhaled Neji into his divine power space, and then looked back at Konoha, who was engulfed in war. He decided to make a good profit before leaving. Chapter 38-Looting Konoha. Feng Yao carefully recalled the various buildings of Konoha. The teleportation ability of the right eye power is realized according to the scene in his memory. I now have a divine power space, and I can put things directly into the space. At this time, I am sorry for my ability not to take advantage of the fire. For Konoha, of course, the most important thing is to place all kinds of ninjutsu and forbidden books. He used the Shinwei space to move to Hokage's office. At this moment, there were not many ninjas guarding here. All of them went out to participate in the battle. The only remaining ones were two Chunin. When they saw an enemy attack, they immediately asked Feng Yao's identity. Who dared to trespass the Hokage hall? The two ninjas immediately took out the ninja tools to deal with it. At this time, the Sand Ninja invaded greatly, and they were left to prevent someone from coming here to steal confidential information and forbidden techniques. Feng Yao ignored them but looked around and said to himself, the place where all the forbidden books should be placed should be in the attic. Naruto even went there at the time. When the two heard it, they were already convinced that this person was the Sha ninja who invaded Konoha, and without saying a word, they directly formed the seal and prepared to take the other party. Fire escape, fire away. Wind dun shen biao. The flames rose with the help of the wind, became even hotter, and swept through the wind. Ninjutsu works well, but unfortunately it doesn't work for me. Feng Yao walked directly out of the flame, and the blur made him not suffer any damage. The two Chunin had never seen such a situation before, so they were ready to go out and call for help. Moon step. Like an instant body, Feng Yao rushed to the front of the two, the right eye vortex appeared, the two bodies began to twist, and they were sucked into the Shinwei space in a moment. In fact, the Shinwei space is not lethal, but can play the role of trapping the enemy, so that the ninjas cannot escape. There are already a lot of people in the space now, but they are separated under the intentional control of Feng Yao, so they will not meet. After dealing with these two passers-by, Feng Yao searched for various scrolls and forbidden techniques that Konoha collected. Finally found a sealed door in an attic, Feng Yao directly opened the blur and penetrated in. This can't be blamed for the carelessness of Konoha's senior management. Who would have thought that there would be such a perverted pupil technique? There is a light candle in it, surrounded by high shelves, with scrolls, sealed books, and various collections of ninjutsu. Feng Yao walked to the center, and a flash of excitement flashed in his pupils. Although these ninjutsus cannot be used by themselves, they can greatly improve the fighting ability of Sen. Every village in the ninja world has its own ninjutsu skills. For example, Konoha village is good at fire escape, Sandian village is good at wind escape, and Union village is good at thunder escape. This does not mean that they only have a change of chakra nature. However, each village has done a very good job of keeping the confidentiality of their own ninjutsu, and it will not be lost easily. If there is no sand hidden invasion this time, even Feng Yao will be difficult to succeed. The majestic vortex in his right eye opened, and the scroll shelves around him began to vibrate. All the scrolls on the shelf and the ninjutsu that Konoha village has worked hard to research and create for decades are all cheap Feng Yao. After collecting everything, Feng Yao used Shinwei again to come to the hall where he could accept tasks and distribute bonuses in his impression. Now that there is no one here, Feng Yao directly smashed open the cabinet and vault, looting the entire Konoha village's liquidity and the rewards given by the client. The money he took from Cardo has been almost used up, but there are still many holes left to fill, which just solved the urgent need. But Konoha village was still a ninja village after all, and the money was not stolen from Cardo, only about 30 million taels. It's no wonder that it is impossible for Konoha ninjas to make money by entrusting them to support ninjas in a village. It is mainly due to the funding from the Fire Country daimyo. Thinking of this, Feng Yao has decided to go to the land of fire to loot one day. If you want to say anything other than Konoha village, it may be Yamato, who has inherited the column between the pillars, and Naruto, who is the nine-tailed man. Said that the first reaction of the cells between the pillars must be the ability to use the wooden dun, but Feng Yao has a system and cannot use the wooden dun. But the intercolumnar cells have a very strong self-healing power, which is what Feng Yao values. His current cell activity and resilience are not low, but it has not reached the level of Hashima. You must know that Hashima's recovery ability is comparable to Tsunade, who has opened the 100 Heroes technique. But he still wanted to confirm it. System, what if I inject intercolumnar cells into my body? Not everyone can transplant intercolumn cells. To put it bluntly, intercolumn cells are the pinnacle of young escape. The average human body cells are completely incomparable to the cell activity of the intercolumnar cells. That is to say, although only a small amount of intercolumnar cells have been transplanted, with the continuous division of cells, it is entirely possible that intercolumnar cells are anti-guest-based. Inevitably, it will be engulfed by the cells between the columns, and it needs strength to reconcile. For example, in Danzo, the writing wheel I represents a kind of power of yin dun, as the so-called lonely yin is not long, so he transplanted the arm between the columns to reconcile it. On the contrary, he was able to use these two powers. In the original work, after Tuanzang, there was not much chakra left due to the use of too much chakra, which caused the imbalance between the writing wheel and the intercolumnar cells, and finally could not control the intercolumnar cells. The host's current mental power and body can be transplanted with intercolumnar cells, and the host's body is not even weaker than the fairy body after it has been developed to the extreme. If that's the case, I am relieved. After getting an accurate answer, Feng Yao didn't think about finding Yamato. Yamato is not a complete replica, and Mu Dun is far inferior to the first generation. What cells inherit is not perfect. If it is perfect, it is still in vain. This matter can be planned later. He decided to take Shangren away first, so he sensed Kanai, the god of flying thunder that he had left with Shangren. Swoosh, _ On a mountain road, the little girl followed behind an older, middle-aged ninja. It can be seen that the middle-aged man in front is the leader of the grass-hidden village this time. When you go back this time, just wait for the punishment. Our Chunin assessment suffered heavy losses this time, but you hid because you were greedy for life and fear of death. You really can't be trusted by outsiders. Kusanagi couldn't stop sneering at Shangren. Shangren just lowered his head and listened behind him, holding a kunai in his hand. Shangren originally belonged to the Whirlpool family, but later fled to Kaoyan village, but it turned out to be another nightmare. Shangren has the ability of the Vortex clan to heal physically, and the injured person will recover chakra and injuries as long as they bite her skin, resulting in the medical supplies for the people in the grass-hidden village. On the way, Chunin heard the rest on a boulder, grabbed Shangren's arm and wanted to bite, to recover his strength and chakra, but before he could speak, a hand suddenly grabbed his head, and constantly exerting force, the entire head was rubbed and squeaked. Ah! The Chunin of Kusakamura shouted loudly. What? Who? Feng Yao lifted him up with his head and threw him aside casually like throwing garbage. Then he turned to look at Shangren with a smile and said, "Didn't you say that you have to protect yourself when you are in danger? Why don't you just kill someone who wants to hurt you?" Seeing the benefactor who once saved her appear again, Shangren subconsciously ignored why the other party was here. But the appearance of the other party gave her a sense of security in her heart, which she hadn't felt since the Vortex clan was destroyed and her mother died. Feng Yao squatted down and said softly, "Come with me. From today onwards, you will not be alone and will not be treated rudely by others." When he said the last sentence, Feng Yao glanced at Kusanagi who was lying not far away. Shangren was moved, and when she was about to take a step to agree, Kusanagi suddenly struggled to stand up. Said fiercely, "You dare, you are something of our grass. When I catch you back, I will definitely suck up your chakra alive." Hearing this, Shangren suddenly trembled. After all, he had been oppressed for a long time and had an instinctive fear. When Chunin saw this scene, he smiled proudly, but the next moment, Feng Yao grabbed his neck. Feng Yao expressionlessly activated the iron block, crushed all his limbs and threw it directly in front of Shangren. Although it was a bit bloody, Feng Yao wanted Shangren to get out of Cao Yan's nightmare quickly, so he helped Shangren catch Kuwu. "This person in front of you should have done a lot of things to hurt you. You don't have to be afraid anymore. You are already under my protection. Now you can make him pay for the things he did to you." Shangren's cheeks flushed red when Feng Yao held her hand, but it was still a little difficult for her to kill. Feng Yao raised her sleeves, and her thin arms were full of bite marks. Shangren seemed to have remembered something, but instead of trembling, she closed her eyes and stabbed towards the grass on the ground. "No, don't." After killing people, Shangren was obviously still a little out of his mind. Feng Yao pulled Shangren aside to comfort him, and after his emotions stabilized, he also inhaled Shangren into the Shenwei space. A lot of time has passed, and I don't know how the battle in Konoha village is going. Chapter 39 _ The End of the War. Boom boom boom. A huge explosion sounded incessantly. In the sky, the ground is full of ninjas fighting. Under the leadership of the 3 generations of Hokage, Shukaku was successfully suppressed, and Gaara returned to human form. But the next reincarnation of the filthy earth made everyone suffer a big loss. Fortunately, Konoha did not send the ninja troops this time, and most of the ninjas were in the village. Every 3 Junin groups hold the opponent's shadow-level combat power. Among them, the troublesome is the reincarnation of the dirty earth. He is not afraid of death, and the poop is so powerful that he almost lost his life when he fought with him several times. Damn, isn't the seal scroll ready yet? It's not good for us to drag it down. Asma Sarutobi cursed while fighting. Although they can still support it, the longer it drags on, the greater the damage to Konoha. When they deal with it, they are quite helpless. Don't be impatient, Hong comforted from the side. Now we can only wait for the results from Lord Jiraiya. All we can do is to buy time and delay these fighting forces. Just as they were talking, a large area of water rushed towards the 2 of them, and they could only fly to deal with it. In addition, Luo Sha is commanding Sha Nin's army, and his combat power is greatly reduced, so naturally he can't rush to fight. Master Kazekage, isn't it bad for us to keep dragging on like this? Konoha has too many Junin, our ninjas are almost dead and wounded, and the support from outside has not arrived, if Orochimaru loses. Quote. Maki looked at Orochimaru, who was getting more and more disadvantaged, and expressed his worries with some worry. This attack was not as easy as imagined. Kazekage was seriously injured, Jiraiya appeared, and Shuhei was suppressed by 3 generations. Now they can only pin their hopes on Orochimaru. This time, Xianju has become a full-fledged 25-year-old. Originally, he could still be ranked in the middle of the 5 major villages. Luo Sha snorted coldly, and her expression became more and more solemn. Said, it can only be like this now. If we retreat now, do you think Konoha will let us go? How about Gaara, can I enter the tailed beast form again? Luo Sha said that the conversation changed later and asked about Gaara. As Sha Yin's weapon, Gaara is unqualified in Luo Sha's eyes. He originally wanted to let Gaara run wild in Konoha and destroy it, but he didn't want to be suppressed by the 3 generations with the seal of the 5 elements. This sealing technique requires that the user must be able to master the 5 basic chakra attribute changes, and must use the 5 elements to unlock it. No, our ability is not enough to open this seal. I am afraid that Gaara will not be able to turn into a tail beast. Maki told Luo Sha truthfully. At this moment, Luo Sha's face is even more gloomy, so Gaara is like a covered meal, which will not only attract others, but also can't eat it. He even had a desire to deal with Gaara on the spot. He couldn't let the village fall into such danger. If Renzuli died, the tailed beast would be resurrected in the rest of the world after a while. The tailed beast is a conscious combination of chakra, and killing it is only equivalent to breaking the chakra. Look at Gaara and wait until the battle is over. It's up to you to deal with it. Luo Sha finally gave this order for the safety of the village, and Maki pondered a little. He and Arrow master and apprentice for so long are naturally not completely unfeeling. In the original book, he was still the one who helped Gaara become Feng, but at this moment he can only take orders. And the battle between Orochimaru and Jiraiya has also been heated up. Jiraiya's immortal mode has a huge amount of chakra. There are 2 immortals who help him to refine the immortal chakra. It can be said that he is very good at protracted warfare. Orochimaru and Jiraiya are now on each side, and Orochimaru has traces of being burned by fire. Obviously, when the 2 great immortals and Jiraiya fought against him together, he was still a little bit overwhelmed, but Jiraiya hardly suffered any injuries. Little Jiraiya, this is what you said about Orochimaru. It is indeed very difficult for you to fight against him and defeat him. Immortal Zima, who was standing beside Jiraiya, said. Orochimaru smiled coldly. I really want to thank the immortals for their praise. It seems that I also need to find a power that can rival Meow Mushin as soon as possible. Hearing this, Jiraiya also frowned. If Orochimaru was gaining the power of other Holy Land immortal arts, his ambition would only be more dangerous. You won't have a chance, Orochimaru. I will never let you escape this time. Huo dun big flame bullet. Jiraiya took a deep breath, puffed out his mouth, and turned chakra into oil. While spitting out the oil that filled his mouth, he used fire ninjutsu to burn it, which was more powerful than ordinary fire. Jiraiya's immortal mode is really amazing. It seems that I can only use that technique. Orochimaru, who was thinking about it, bit his fingers, quickly formed a seal in his hand, and his body also changed. Secret Art. The Art of Yaki. A fearsome white snake known as the strongest python. It has a gigantic body that surpasses Manda's, and a face with ferocious teeth. Orochimaru, which was swallowed by Sasuke Uchiha in the original work, was released when Sasuke's restraining chakra was exhausted. It's a pity that Itachi has the Sword of the Gods and 10-fist swords, which directly kills Orochimaru. But it doesn't mean that this technique is weak, and it can be used as a whole card by Orochimaru. It is one of the biggest and strongest techniques of Orochimaru, and it is also the embodiment of his long-lasting obsession. Xiaozilai is also careful. This trick is not easy. Immortal Fukasaku reminded him. I understand, the two immortals, please get ready. After Jiraiya finished speaking, he stepped on his feet. The ground was shaken by a terrifying force, 2 large pits were shaken, and Jiraiya flew into the air. Hands together. Ninja Art. The art of shattering lion's hair. This is a ninjutsu that lengthens the hair into a lion head shape and wraps the opponent around. Although it is hair, it is strong enough to smash the opponent. A psychic beast who instantly defeated Pain's animal path. Countless hairs split into dozens of strands, entangling the Orochi in front of him. Hiss. Roar. The 8 big heads were entangled and collided with each other, but soon one of the heads spit out flames, and the high temperature directly burned all the hair on the body, and Jiraiya was not in a hurry. Turning the hand is another ninjutsu to trap the enemy. Dun Wangquan Marsh. A huge swamp suddenly appeared under the big snake, and the whole body fell into it and could not escape. Orochimaru hid in the snake's belly and smiled disdainfully, and the other head of the 8-headed snake spit out cold wind and frost. The entire swamp froze directly, and even Jiraiya had a lot of ice crystals on his body, and the Orochi Yachi crawled out of it. It seems that the 8 heads should be able to use different kinds of inferior ninjutsu. After Jiraiya fought for 2 rounds, he analyzed the attack pattern of the Orochi Yachi, and the 2 immortals looked at each other. Since that's the case, let's take action too, Xiaozilai. Xianju frog cry. The strongest in illusion is the sound system, which is the frog croak made by the toad couple, which can make the opponent fall into a powerful illusion and stay still. Even the 8-headed snake froze in place after hearing it. Good opportunity. Shanfa Super Jade Spiral Pill. This is an immortal art that is more than 10 times larger than that of Dayu Spiral Pill, and its power is terrifying enough to destroy a giant rock mountain. Jiraiya jumped high again and smashed the whole spiral pill on the head of Hachichi Orochi. The big snake woke up from the illusion and let out a roar. Roar. The 2 heads were directly blown apart by the spiral pill. The 2 immortals are not idle, and they use each other to cooperate. Tongue binding, water slash. Immortal Zima first used his tongue to restrain the Orochi Baki, and then Immortal Shenzuo spit out high-intensity water escape ninjutsu. Hide inside. Little Jiraiya also has a chance. After seeing Orochimaru, Jiraiya also reacted immediately. His hair grew longer with a flick, and locked Orochimaru firmly and wanted to pull him out. Orochimaru and Jiraiya were also deadlocked with each other. Orochimaru, give up. What you have done has brought too much pain to this ninja world. Jiraiya still continued to persuade Orochimaru. He wanted to bring this old friend back. which is why he didn't let the two immortals take the first shot during the battle. He didn't want to kill Orochimaru. HMPH, Jiraiya, how can you understand my mind, how fragile life is, and people are easily broken things. I want to make life more tenacious and achieve eternity. Orochimaru roared at Jiraiya. He has witnessed the cruelty of war and the departure of his relatives since he was a child. He did not express his emotions through tears like ordinary people, but attributed everything to the fragility of life. At that time, he was afraid of losing his companions. Therefore, they do not trust the power of their peers. When Jiraiya was about to refute him, a figure instantly came behind Orochimaru. Flying Thunder God Technique. Feng Yao finally waited for this opportunity. He had planted the Flying Thunder God Technique in the battle with Orochimaru before, and now Orochimaru is completely powerless to resist. He grabbed Orochimaru's right eye and the majestic whirlpool opened. Orochimaru, your eternal life seems to be spent in my space. Orochimaru's body was twisted and sucked into the Kamui space. No. Author's digression. Today is another round. I am very happy. This is the result of the great support and collection of readers. I would like to thank everyone here. I will definitely bring you a stable update of 3 chapters every day. Comments and favorites. Love you. Chapter 40_fruitful. Orochimaru's voice echoed in the sky, conveying a message to the people that Orochimaru was defeated. Without Orochimaru's 8 differences technique, it slowly fell to the ground. Zilai also looked at Feng Yao and didn't know what to say. It stands to reason that Orochimaru was a traitor and killed him, which would be beneficial and harmless to Konoha. His feelings still drove him to question Feng Yao. What did you do to Orochimaru? For Jiraiya, Orochimaru was a partner he never got back in the past. Part of the reason why he didn't inherit Hokage in the original book was because he wanted to get Orochimaru back. Their relationship was like Naruto and Sasuke. Feng Yao stood up slowly, ignoring Jiraiya, and turned his eyes to the ninjas who were still fighting below. Orochimaru had not yet lifted the reincarnation of the Dirty Earth, so the first Hokage Uchiha Jing and others were still fighting. I don't need to deal with Orochimaru, Lord Jiraiya, it's still useful for me to keep him and won't kill him easily. Leaving aside some of Orochimaru's conspiracy and tricks, his mind and vision are among the best in Hokage. As the only man in Hokage who believes in science, Feng Yao uses the other god to make the other party use it for himself. In addition to the questioning from Raya, the most excited person on the field was Junmalu. He desperately repelled the Jonin in front of him and rushed towards Feng Yao. The bones in his hands are exposed and condensed into a huge bone gun. Roared, what did you do to Master Orochimaru? Give him back to me. Seeing Junmalu rushing in recklessly, Feng Yao originally wanted to summon the psychic beast directly. But at this time, a big ghost with a mask and a grey bone stick in his hand was hit and bounced off Junmalu several meters. It was Tayuya's 3 ghosts. When Feng Yao ended Orochimaru, she hesitated for a moment, but in the end she chose to stand on the side of Feng Yao, who was in her heart. Taiyu also took the flute and entered the state of the second curse. Although Junmalu cared about it, it can be seen that her strength is much better than before. Her eyes were fixed on Junmalu. She used to be afraid when she saw Junmalu, but now she won't. She has someone she wants to protect. I won't let you hurt Master Feng Yao unless you can kill me. Seeing the girl standing up for him in front of him, Feng Yao felt a throbbing in his heart. He had never cared too much about the girl Tayuya before, and her performance in the original book was mediocre. But the latter surprised him too much today. He could use secret techniques to control the self-sealed Danzo and defuse an attack from Junmalu. Feng Yao walked over slowly and put his hand on Tayuya's shoulder. You don't need to take action, leave the matter here to me now. Duo Yu was also visibly shaken by Feng Yao's slap. She lowered her hair slightly and made a mosquito-sized voice, yes. Yes, Lord Feng Yao. Then he covered his face and stood behind Feng Yao, and then secretly looked at Feng Yao's profile from his fingers. I thought silently in my heart, Tilda Lord Fengyao's breath is still so attractive, but the state of my cursioner is so ugly, don't use it in front of Lord Fengyao in the future. Of course Fengyao would not have thought that this was the reason why the other party covered his face. His face sank like water. Junma Lu, now Orochimaru is in my hands. You have two choices, one is to watch me take him where you want to go by yourself, the other is to follow me from now on. You can be guaranteed a chance to see him. I'll give you 10 seconds to choose. Junma Lu's bones are moving and growing at a speed that can be seen by the naked eye. He can't wait to kill the person in front of him immediately and regain Orochimaru. But reason still let the curse mark on his body slowly dissipate, and finally retracted into a small circle of 3 hooks. Junmalu's choice made Fengyao smile slightly, and his first order was for Junmalu to gather Orochimaru's troops and prepare to retreat. If you continue to fight, you will just die in vain, and if you have Jirai, you will also sit in Konoha, and how many trash fish will be given in vain. It's better to save some power for your own use in the future. Sharen and his party below showed a hint of despair. Since Orochimaru has been defeated, and I am seriously injured, I am afraid that I will not be able to break through, and I cannot let one tail fall into Konoha's hand, horse base hands. Luo Sha's eyes flashed a firm gaze again. If one tail falls into Konoha's hands, it will definitely become a weapon, causing immeasurable damage to the Kingdom of Wind. Hearing the order, Maki's body trembled, but he also understood what would happen if a tail fell into the opponent's hands. The next moment, he spread his arms with all his might, like a big bird spreading its wings. Blade of Wind. There was a crisp sound, and the palm wind spurted violently. In an instant, a gust of wind blew up, forming an invisible wind blade in the sky. Then, they rolled into one, and rushed towards Gaara, who was exhausted not far away. Leader Maki, what are you doing? Temari, who saw this scene, immediately asked loudly. At the same time, she ran towards Gaara. She was also Gaara's sister. Regardless of her position, she also loved Gaara very much. But after all, the wind blade is still one step faster. But at the moment of success, Fengyao used Fei Lei Shen to move to Gaara and resisted it. Mr. Fengyao. Gaara saw this scene. The campus was about to split, and he quickly stood up desperately. Fengyao's chest had a huge gap from his collarbone to his waist, and blood was constantly flowing from the wound. Jiraiya, who was helping the ninjas to seal the reincarnation of the filthy earth, frowned. Doubt, it's strange, he shouldn't be hit by that kind of attack. Fengyao pretended to cough 2 mouthfuls of blood, and Gaara on the side was even more worried, and hurriedly tore off his clothes to cover the wound to stop the bleeding. This is a bitter trick that Fengyao played on purpose. He was still thinking about how to take Gaara away, but now Xiaoyan gave him a chance. He said weakly, I love Luo, the people of this village are not worthy of what you should do for them. Would you like to come with me? Eyes were red, I'll go with you, Mr. Fengyao, stop talking, you are seriously injured. Hearing this, Temari and the others wanted to open their mouths to stop them, but after thinking about it carefully, whether it was really right for Gaara to stay in Sandian village, they still didn't say anything in the end. Luo Sha on the side also frowned. His son should be extremely withdrawn, why is he so concerned about this Fengyao? After Gaara helped Fengyao up, Junmaro had almost assembled Orochimaru's troops. Including Yaoshido, who had just left the battlefield, he couldn't even believe his ears when he heard the news of Orochimaru's arrest. But at this moment, the 3 ghosts flew out and attacked Maki without any hesitation. At the same time, there is also the sound of the flute, trying to drag the opponent into the illusion. You hurt Lord Fengyao, I want you to die. Duoyu also entered the state of curse seal too. The skin on his body changed, and horns grew on his head, his eyes were full of killing intent and anger, and his moves were fatal. Even Maki was forced to retreat for a while, not daring to fight with him. Fengyao couldn't help laughing bitterly in his heart, so he could only speak again. I'm fine, Duoyuya, this place is over, retreat with me. Duoyuya froze. In the end, she gritted her teeth and returned to Feng Yao. She gently supported Feng Yao's other shoulder, looking at the wound with pain in her eyes. Feng Yao stood up with the help of everyone, and looked at the 5 people next to him, Do, Gara and others. His eyes were full of radiance. He really gained a lot this time, and the task will be completed soon. Then he turned his head and said to Jiraiya. Sasuke and Naruto are in a hotel 3 kilometers from here. Everyone in Konoha, we regret it for a while. Then the divine power vortex in the right eye unfolded, and the space vortex wrapped himself and the people around him and sucked it into the divine power space. Konoha went through another 3-hour war, and finally the dust settled. The first generation Uchiha Mirror and other filthy reincarnations were all sealed. Luo Sha led the remaining sand ninjas to surrender to the 3 generations of Hokage, and Jirai was also appointed as the temporary agent Hokage. The 3rd generation assists in handling large and small things inside and outside Konoha. Hey, the war only brings pain. Once this incident is over, I don't know how many families Konoha and Sandian have left, and I'm afraid the neighboring countries will not be safe. Sandemu stood beside Danzo's corpse, with remorse, heartache, and helplessness in his eyes, and Jirai also folded his arms. Said calmly, I will stay in Konoha during this time, and when everything settles down, I will find someone to inherit the position of Hokage. The 3 generations were stunned for a moment, and then thought of something. Well, you are talking about Tsunade's child. She is indeed suitable. Whether it is character or identity, you will have to work hard during this time, and you should also be careful about that Feng Yao. His identity is too mysterious. Also laugh. Don't worry, I have almost understood his ability. I have no problem dealing with it, and besides, we have nothing to lose by cooperating with him this time. At this time, a Chunin suddenly hurried past. It's not good, the 3rd generation, Lord Jiraiya, something big has happened. Seeing the people coming in so flustered, Zilai also frowned. Sha Yin was defeated, what else could happen? Don't rush, speak slowly. Visitor took a deep breath and said tremblingly, the various banned ninjutsu books in the Konoha bookstore, as well as the funds I entrusted with Konoha, have all been swept away. What? Who did it? Just after asking, a figure with a beautiful face suddenly appeared in Jiraiya's mind. Gnashing of teeth. Feng Yao, you bastard. Don't let me meet you next time.